10. We got Hansi and Aaron.
That's right. With Barry Faith. And so we've been watching you guys. We've been really busy. For a while, I've seen you were posting, you were looking for some musicians. Did you guys happen to fill those spaces?
Yeah, we did. We were looking for a drummer and a bassist for a while. But we filled both those positions. In addition to that, we added a second guitarist.
Nice.
So, we've got Danny on the drums, Jason on bass, and
Donnie.
Gosh.
I know. I do this all the time.
I don't know why I said Donnie on drums.
It's such a weird name, Donnie. It's like Donnie and Marie.
And Matt on
Sorry,
guitar.
I love you, man.
So
cool. Well, so we invited you on because you have a lot of stuff to talk about. But first, we're going to start off with some drinks. It is my birthday, so
happy birthday to you.
We are going to
Spectacular.
we're going to get some liquor. Get liquored up. So I found a really cool recipe online
For party liquor.
Great video, and they're called Integrity Specials, and it's a little video that was based off of South Park, if anyone knows who that is, and it looked really good. So it starts with 2 ounces of rum. So we're gonna make a bunch.
Oh, you're gonna make it right now as we're
making
sitting
it
here.
right now. As
Oh, that's exciting.
okay. So this is a 1 ounce.
Got the Kraken pulled out.
The Kraken.
That's right, sugar Bartel. But yeah, this video looks really, really awesome. So I hope these kick ass because I have not test tried this. I just bought this stuff just based off the video, right? 2 ounces rum, 1 ounce.
Well, gentlemen, while he's doing these drinks,
Yes.
Yeah.
let's jump into our first section, music. We're musicians here. We're all musicians here. It's okay. Why don't you guys take us through this merch you just brought us, this beautiful merch that we will post on the wall forever. Why don't you guys tell us about it? What are you doing?
Well, this is our first record we just released. Actually, a couple months ago, we released it February 28th. Right? Correct? February 28th is when the record was officially released, as in being available on Spotify and all streaming platforms you can imagine.
Okay.
And including YouTube and Apple Music, all this kind of stuff. The CD came a little later. No, actually, the CD was released the same day, I want to say, right? It came actually out the same day. We had it ready to ship. And, we now also got vinyl as well.
Very
we
nice.
made a short amount of vinyl. We've been working on this album for about 2 years now. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of changes in the band. The 2 of us are the remaining original members from the very beginning. In the band, we've been through 7 drummers. Absolutely, it's like finding a unicorn. But I know you know how it is, right? I know what you mean, man. There's so many bands out there, like Sheila's band. Rich Elm is also looking for a drummer. So yeah,
there are drummers out there, but they're hard to find. It's hard to find musicians that you click with, right?
Yes, it's hard to find not just musicians that you click with, but also people that can play the music. Not every musician fits to the music. They say they do, but then when you play with them, they find out they actually don't. Anyway, so this record is our first record. I just came back from Germany. I was promoting this record over there. We had a few Metal Hammer magazine, or no Metal Hammer, Rock Hard magazine, Germany, biggest metal magazines in Europe, did reviews on the record, and they were quite well, 13 out of 15 points.
Excellent.
In a big magazine, that's actually for an independent, for a band that's not signed, is actually pretty good, I would say, for
for a band in Idaho.
For a band from Boise, Idaho. And that's the whole thing. They were in the review, they would write, this band from Boise, Idaho, and they're like,
surprise.
And they're like, wherever that is, they're like, well, holy hell, this thing smokes, and like, really good reviews, So we're proud of this record. We're writing on new material right now that's going to absolutely crush. Faster, heavier, even than the first record.
Excellent.
It's going to crush heads for sure, and that's pretty much it. Right now we're promoting this. We looking for a label, and we had a few labels reach out, but this time we don't want to, just sign with any label, and then we want a little promotion. We want to play overseas, like a couple of festivals.
Of course, yeah.
Yada yada yada. Anyway, great. I've seen people at parties and at shows over there wearing our merch, like patches on their jackets, and I'm like, dude, that's my band. They're like, yeah, I know, and
Feels good.
stickers of my band in random bathrooms, and I'm like, wow, it's like I'm in a bathroom in Germany. I'm famous now.
Well, it's so easy to make merch nowadays. Like, it's kind of nice and convenient for bands.
I lost track what you all putting in there, man. But we've been to how many shots of what now?
Okay, so it's 2 shots of rum, 1 shot Midori, 1 shot Corel.
Is there tequila in there?
No tequila.
Okay.
I
had to ask. Ooh, Malibu! Look at that.
No tequila, but it is not for the weak at heart here.
Well, I'm sure it's not. I'm just looking. I'm just looking him pouring here.
I'll put some green stuff too. I may have messed up the count on this one. I don't give a shit. It's my birthday.
Hey, you're gonna drink that one?
Yeah, that's your drink.
I'm almost done with
That's yours. Just leave that out and pour a little bit more of that Malibu in there, man.
Here you go, birthday boy.
So I don't know if these drinks are going to be any good, but they sure are busy, right?
They'll be good.
They look busy.
Well, they'll be good. That's a different color of nuclear neon
Look,
green.
it goes with the album cover.
Hell
It
yeah.
does.
These are the green in the back.
That's metal.
That's metal as hell.
Hell yeah.
The drink is gonna be metal.
Are you guys touring right now? Any plans to tour? Any shows lined up? Anything going on that you can tell us about, or top secret?
We do have shows. We're going to have a set at the Shredder at the end of the month, the 28th.
Okay,
which is
excellent
Saturday.
place to play.
So yeah, that'll be a good time because it will be the first time with the current lineup all playing together.
Nice.
So we're
First time
excited
live?
about that. So
That's always
Yeah.
that's like your test, right? Like
Are
right.
you
So we
ready?
haven't
The
played
pressure
live since
test.
before the album was released. So yeah, so it's going to be exciting.
all right, Chad.
Yeah,
Gonna help me
start
out
her
here?
on down the line here.
So
Just got to smoke it real quick.
smoke one, pass it.
What are you
So,
doing?
Bring it on.
Smoking it.
For mine, I'll just have it without.
No, this is the way.
This is the way.
Let's see.
Oh, this is some just like smoky, woody kind of.
Oh, I see.
Well, cheers! Happy birthday!
This is not heroin.
This is
We'll be all right.
well,
it's cherry
dang
wood.
it.
Yeah. Cheers,
Cheers.
gentlemen.
Cheers.
Integrity.
I give this about a C on the
Oh,
taste
yeah.
scale.
Pretty sweet.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
pretty sweet.
It's like Kool-Aid, man.
Lots of sugar in it.
For real.
Woo!
The video
It's
looked
green.
better than it was.
Here goes my diabetes.
This
is flaring up.
Integrity Special is not a hit.
Oh my god! I definitely put some hair on your skin, man. That's for sure.
Well, we got more pineapple juice
Woo!
to throw in there.
In the meantime, would you like to try a beer in between?
Yeah, let's crack one of those.
Let's crack one of those. German stuff. Everybody loves that.
Okay. Back to music a little bit here. What is the last best show that you saw?
Birthday boy.
Ooh, nice.
Is it a special beer?
This is
Thank you, sir.
a special beer. Yes, this is a Felton's from Ruhrpott.
Thank you.
The Pilsner.
The last best
This
show.
is Sodom beer. Sodom
Last
drinks
best
this
show that you
beer.
have seen, huh?
Well, one of the most recent shows.
Cheers.
That was a lot of fun. Was the Meshuggah show?
Yeah, that was good.
Mm.
Oh yeah, sorry about all the head.
It's good for you.
It's very
I'm
good
gonna
for
smell
you.
like booze on my birthday.
I'm gonna take it easy on this one here.
Oh
Hey,
yeah,
nobody's
for
going to
sure.
make you drink it.
Yep. It was an experiment. I was said.
You never know. You
It-
could have
it-
hit
it
the
looked
jackpot
awesome.
on that. You know.
I was like, oh, they're great. Lots of rum. Should be freaking great. No, this is not a drink.
This
I
is
would order.
definitely if somebody likes a sweet drink, they will enjoy this.
Now,
for
if you
sure.
have a hot date that you want to get wasted, this is the drink. It is strong and
Yes.
And green.
And green for sure.
That's
Yes.
metal.
They're going to call it Romulan ale.
That is what it looks
Did you guys see
So-
new Old Man's Child coming out? Excited for that. You guys know Old Man's Child?
Let's not even do I know Old Man's Child.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yes.
Absolutely. Actually, a friend of mine is going to see them when they're playing that in the mountains, whatever it's called, Fire in the Mountains, whatever it's called. I wish I could go there, but I guess it was like sold out already.
I believe
and
so.
all
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
you know. And we just got, like I said, we just got back from Germany, so that, you know.
Already been.
Yeah, I was
Not Old
checking
Man
out
Child.
the-
I never seen them live, and I would absolutely love it.
Oh, that'd be a great show.
Yes, but I already have, asked him to bring me merch, because I definitely want something from that show. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, that's the only reason I would have gone is for Old Man Child. There's a lot of other good bands on there, but that band is the main band that I would have really enjoyed seeing. you know.
Absolutely.
But you're saying last good concert.
Yep. Last best show you saw.
Last best show I've seen. I go to a lot of shows, and I've been to a lot of shows. But the first show since we've been back from Germany, we went to see The Sweet and Warrant.
Really?
Yes,
Warrant, huh?
Warrant.
They're
Without Janie, obviously.
They're still
You
rocking
know,
out, are they?
Yeah, man. They got the singer of what's that name? Of what's that band with Doc and guitar player? Lynch Mob. He used to be a singer in Lynch Mob. Great band. He definitely has the vocals. It was a good show. The Sweet was good. No original member anymore in that band. They're all like old people. They came in the late '90s, early 2000s. But great show. Great show. We were the only people standing up. Everybody else was sitting and clapping.
That's
It was a
terrible.
casino. I think the age group was like 60 to 70.
They probably didn't even know who they were.
So we were kind of like young people at the show, and we're in our 50s. So it's like, even the band was like, you guys can stand up and, clap your hands. They were sitting there. It was like a funeral, man. But the bands were great. They put on a great show, and, I had a good time, man. They played all the old songs I grew up with The Sweet, like Love is Like Oxygen and, Fox on the Run, all that stuff, it's great.
Some of those old bands still got it. They really
Yeah, they
did.
were great, man. They were, for what, they're old, and the drummer looked like he should have probably had a breathing apparatus while he was playing. They put it down, man. They really put on a good show,
I was in Santa Cruz a couple years back, and they had, I don't know if you know who the Motels are.
Of course, yeah.
They
Absolutely.
played live there on the beach, and they smashed. I was like,
That would have been a cool show to see, man. I love that kind of stuff, man.
so yeah, I hear Judas Priest and Alice Cooper are coming here soon, and I want to go see that.
It's
gonna be
Salt
great.
Lake City.
Is it Salt Lake?
Yeah,
I
they're
thought
coming.
they were
I don't
coming
think
here.
they're coming.
No, they're not coming here. They're coming to Salt Lake,
Oh,
and we're still gonna go.
yeah,
Alice Cooper alone, man.
that's worth a road trip for sure. And
absolutely.
Salt Lake is really not that far from here.
No, it's not. I'm not a fan of the USANA, to be honest. I've been there a million times and watched bands like Ozzy, and I've
Nice.
seen Black Sabbath there on their last tour. I've seen Maiden there a few times. I've seen Scorpions with Megadeth there. Tons
Sweet.
of shows. I'm just not a fan of that whole layout of that place.
Is it like an arena layout?
It's just really everything is inconvenient
Outdoor.
there. Outdoors, it's hot. There's hardly any shade. To go to I remember Black Sabbath, man, took me like hour and a half to go to the bathroom, take a piss, man. I was like, I needed a diaper, man. Like it was one of the one-use diapers for a show or something. That would have been great.
Yeah, it's frustrating when the bathroom they don't have enough. And
I hate that, man.
because you're drinking a lot, right?
Yeah,
and so when you gotta go,
Dude, and especially after you just had your, two $17 beers,
Mhm.
you gotta go get another one, and before you do that, you go pee, because you gotta make room for more, So
Stay hydrated.
yeah,
it's a man with experience.
Absolutely.
yeah, that's a good show, man. I definitely want to go to that show.
So what do you play in the band, Aaron?
Guitar.
Guitar. So tell us about your equipment. We like to ask about the musicians about their equipment. What guitars you use and what amps you use, pedals, etc.
Okay. Yeah. So the guitars I've been using mostly are solar guitars.
Mhm.
And I like I like V's. I play mostly V's when
Yeah.
I play, live. When I'm at home, sitting in front of my computer writing songs, I use like a Super Strat because it's comfortable in front of the computer or something. But when I'm out playing rehearsals, shows, it's always V's pretty much.
Nice.
I just like the way, I like the way they balance, and of course the way they look.
They
And just everything
they
about
sit
them.
well. They don't neck dive a lot,
Yeah,
which I hate neck diving guitars. When you let go, it's like ugh.
exactly.
My only problem with them is it's not a sit down and play guitar, right? You have to be
Right.
standing up with the V. That's
Right.
the only down. I feel to the V shape. Like I got one right there.
Yes, I was noticing this earlier.
Is that a BC Richard?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yep.
Cool.
Seven string.
Love
I
it.
got it tuned down to CGC FA D, and that top string I think is down one. I just got it tuned into that lower tuning. I haven't even really played with it much. I want to actually write a song on it.
Alright.
So far, that top string, I haven't found anything really sludgy that sounds good. But on the clean tone, like that lower string, it does some wonderful things. So, yeah, been having fun with it.
Nice. Yeah, so, mostly solar guitars. Although, I have what some might say too many guitars.
No such thing.
My wife would say I have too many guitars.
So I have a lot, but I got into V's when I first played a Gibson Flying V somewhere, and it was like, oh, this is like the perfect guitar to play, live. It just felt so perfect. And at the time, I was playing in a band called The Discarded, where I was playing keyboards and guitar, and the guitar I had at the time, the problem was I would play keyboards and guitars in one song, and so I'd be playing some guitar, then I'd have to play a keyboard part, so I'd let go of my guitar, play some keys,
man.
and I had a real neck-heavy guitar, so then this guitar is like sliding down my arm while I'm trying to play something. So when I switched to that Gibson Flying V, it was perfect. I could let go, and it just stays there. It's out of my way. I also like when I'm sitting down playing, I usually play in like a classical position. I kind of like the neck
So really
upright.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just find it's more comfortable, like for my wrist, to kind of.
So
keep
you
it
can
straight.
jam a flying V sitting down then, because you just put the crook in your leg.
Yeah,
That's how I play mine.
I do play them sitting down. It just for long periods of time, I would prefer something else. But
Mhm.
I mean, I have spent quite a bit of time playing V sitting down. So, but yeah, and I particularly like solar guitars. They're just kind
Is there a particular body style you like? Do you have multiple body styles?
Well, they have. Yeah, I've got their Super Strat shape, and that's like I'm trying to remember the model name, but I've got this like fluorescent green.
That's badass guitar.
Yeah,
dude.
it looks cool.
Yeah.
That's basically the guitar that I wrote all the songs for this album on.
Cool.
When I'm sitting at home playing, that's what I'm playing. But then when we play live, I play the V1. It's like a green and yellow, kind of the lizard burst, I guess you would say, kind of thing.
It's a cool guitar, man, too.
Do
So,
they
yeah.
have passive or active pickups?
Passive.
Yeah.
I do have some guitars with active pickups, but
It changes the sound. You have to change the sound on your amp when you have active versus passive.
Yeah,
I
you-
noticed that. As soon as I switched over to some active pickups, I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta dink with this, right?"
yeah, it can. And I also, like the output levels, have a lot to do with it, right? So you have pickups that are super hot, that
Yeah.
can mess with your settings and so forth. But yeah, so that's primarily what
What
I'm
kind of
using.
amp do you use?
I have a Rev generator 120,
Mhm.
and that's what I've used for all these live shows. I have different things I'll use during rehearsals and stuff. Some things that are more convenient than lugging around a 120 watt aircraft carrier of an amp.
The wheels
But,
on it.
I've considered playing with like
That's
a
heavy, yeah.
50 watt because they literally mic it up. You really don't need the big half stack
That's
or full
true.
stack. I've seen other musicians. I was like, "Oh, that's smart, right?"
Yeah.
So Marshall
Yeah.
stacks everywhere. So
Yeah, it's a lot, but I got like big ass wheels on my cab now, so it makes it a little bit easier to haul around because those things are heavy.
Yeah, they are heavy. Like the cabs, at least they have wheels, but like getting those big amp heads on, it's just they're just awkward, right? And they weigh a lot, and they're just.
Now, do you
awkward
have
heavy.
an effects board, or do you run from the sound effects from your cab?
Well, I do have a pedal board, but I'm, still experimenting with things for the live show. But up until now, I've been using the distortion on the amp, just the high gain channel.
Yeah.
And we don't have any clean passages in any of these songs, so I'm just always high gain. And then when I switch to like a lead, basically I engage a couple pedals in a loop, like a EQ to mostly as a boost.
Yeah.
But I'll boost like the mids a little bit more,
Just to make it a little bit more.
just to make it stand out a little bit.
Gotcha,
And then like a little bit of delay, and that's just about it. Like there's a point in one of our songs where I'll kick on a flange pedal for a bridge part, but that's about it. I don't really use a lot of
Nice.
effects, mostly just straightforward
Raw sound.
yeah
Hell yeah.
yeah
But what about you, Hansi? Do you use a special mic or?
Yeah, I prefer Sennheiser
Yeah.
microphones. Not just because they're made in Germany, but they're good performance. They can take a beating.
Our singer Raider says that's a very important,
Yes,
yeah.
that is, and I'm someone on stage that likes to move around,
Mhm.
and jump around, and do things, and get the audience, kind of, with us, So yeah, Sennheiser. I like some Shure as well, but to me is I'm a singer. What kind of equipment do I have? I have a couple of microphones. And a practice PA at home. That's it. Everything else is pretty much laid out for me at the show the way I want it. And I don't use it. I use a pedal when I practice. To get some of these. My vocals, they actually come out like this. They're not fabricated by any kind of pedal. It helps. So with holding. Because if I don't know if you listen to any of the songs on this record, but if you do a song like Macroaggression. Sorry, did I just say that? Of course, massive aggression, I wanted to say. When you play a song like Massive Aggression during a rehearsal more than once, you're shot, dude. It's like, your voice is going to be gone. So that's why I use a little bit of help doing rehearsals, but doing live shows, I tell basically the sound guy, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and my sound checks are 10 seconds, 15 seconds. I'm like, I do a couple of screams and I tell them more power, a little bit more feedback, blah blah, and I'm done. I don't need to set up. I'm not a guitar.
Much, right?
I'm not a guitar player.
So who's your artist?
Aaron, if you would.
Want to give them a shout out?
He's on the record actually inside the thanks
It's
list.
listed inside.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember how to pronounce
Japanese
it.
gentleman.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'd have to read the name.
Yeah, I can say the
Just
name
someone
right
I
now.
found online who offered services for getting artwork, and so
Okay, I see.
I just commissioned. I told him kind of an idea, for the album, and that's what he came up with, and everyone liked it. So
It's one thing I'll always love most about the metal genre is they have the best artwork out of all of the music genres, right?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, they have the coolest artwork. And I've always been to Boris Vallejo and
Yes.
Frank Frazetta.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
so like the brutal...
Even the Meatloaf records.
Yeah,
some of
it's
those,
just
you
epic.
know,
As hell, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, artwork is important. It's very important.
I think when you have crappy artwork or something that really doesn't speak to the name of the band, what you're doing, it kind of takes away from the whole the whole idea of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, Aaron is the he wrote all the music to this record, to all the songs. I just put lyrics onto them, and so
just go
he's a
I
writing
feel it, yeah.
genius, man. I am a very lucky man to have found him. My wife already told me we should move in together. Kidding. No, I'm very happy that we found each other because we've been in the scene for a long time. I've been in the Idaho scene for now 25 years.
Yeah, we've known you for, I don't even remember.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I remember when the Knitting Factory was the Big Easy, man, you know, and I've been at, you know, all the clubs and whatnot, you know, but,
I've
you know,
probably been running into you at shows for countless years.
Oh, yeah.
Before I actually even officially met you, I probably ran into you a
absolutely,
couple times.
yeah, that was just like, it's like, live shows are our home, you know, that's what we do, you know, but yeah, I mean, this, and it's kind of strange. Found him because he's been in the scene for a long time as well and has played in bands that I'm actually familiar with, like the Discarded. I knew some of these guys, you know, and been friends with, you know, acquaintances, if you will, not friends, you know. But you know, I never heard of this cat, you know. And then when I put out the feelers for this band, I was like, I'm not gonna find anybody in Boise that wants to play black and thrash, you know, kind of old school. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody can play that, you know. And then was, I think the first was Chris, and then Chris got
Chris was first.
got a hold of you or something and say,
No, I saw your post and you said that you already had a drummer, I think, and then it sounded. Actually, you might have found me before Chris.
I think I
you were
did.
looking for a bass player and a guitarist.
I think I did actually, yes.
So,
and then as we started talking, I was like, I looked at his pictures and I was like, I never seen this guy. You know, he doesn't look familiar, but he, you know, like his name sounds familiar and this and this. And then when we first met and got together, we each, you know, before we got together to practice, we each picked a song, you know, or like we were trying to get a song together. And our bass player was like, let's do Megadeth.
Wake Up Dead.
Wake Up Dead.
No,
You know, it's like,
what
better song to pick, you know, for a thrash band to try out. But for me, great, because there's like, 5 minutes of just doodling in the beginning before the vocals. That's great, you know. But for any guitar player or bassist or drummer, that song is a huge challenge, man. You know?
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Dave Mustaine is a
He's an absolute beast, man. You know, so we decided to do a song by well, you know, it's a cool band, but they're pretty well unknown here in the States, or like in general, they only have one album. They're called Violent Force from Germany. Made one album in the mid '80s, and absolute cult, man. And they have the drummer, you know, later Sodom, Living Death, man, just like legends, you know, and in the German thrash scene, you know. And so we covered a song of Violent Force, and we did that for a while, you know. Had a drummer, it was pretty good, and you know, it just all didn't work out because of, you know, either political reasons or, you know, or just like people being douches. You know? Like, I have only one thing if I'm like going to meet with somebody in a band. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care what you look like. I don't care where you're from. Don't be a douche. That's all I'm asking, you know. I mean, just don't be an asshole, you know.
Well, the most challenging thing, I've said this before, the most challenging thing of being in the band is just getting like 4 guys together once a week.
They actually like to hang out with each other. You know?
I look forward to it.
We do too, man. The whole band now is to the point where we are looking forward to rehearsing and getting together.
If you miss a practice,
you'll feel guilty,
and you feel like you're like you're incomplete. You know?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, when you're sick, you get sick, and you have to miss a rehearsal or practice. You're going to be like, you feel still bad that you're sick, you know, because you let everybody else down. You know, and I still want to go, even I'm sick, but I don't want to be a douche, you know, get everybody sick.
For a singer, it's kind of hard when you're sick too.
You're
using vocals.
I've done it, you know. I mean, I played shows sick.
You know, when
drunk as a skunk, you know,
they just sit there and be like, "I'm sick." You know?
Boogers running out.
Oh, dude, I could tell you a funny story about that one with Munchkin suicide, but I think I'm gonna let that go.
Okay. We'll tell it next time.
Yeah, I do that next time.
We'll tell it next time.
All right. Should we move on? Or?
Yeah, let's jump into movies.
All right. So we talked to Hansi and Aaron before the show, and we decided to do a review on The Lost Boys, which is one of the most amazing movies I think it was ever made. It only got a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous,
man.
right?
It's because they do not watch the movies.
No.
They just spit out a random number.
This is probably also somebody, you know, like that's living in his mom's basement, 19-year-old gamer that's going to be like, oh, yeah, it's old movie from the 80s. God, it's not that great.
Well,
You know?
we've been figuring out that these ratings on some of these sites are not quite accurate because movies that are definitely classics, like cult classics that are rewatchable by a million, seem to be like lowly rated sometimes, and I'm just like, where are these ratings coming from? Maybe they're not even real people. Who knows? But
They're just a watch.
we're talking
Yeah,
about The
robots.
Lost Boys today. It was released on July 31st of 1987. Director Joel Schumacher, which that dude smashed it out of the park on this one.
Oh yeah.
So tell us what you remember and what was special about this movie for you.
I remember watching this movie actually in the movie theaters in Germany when it came out, and I want to say that was late September actually of that year, because in Germany it always took a couple of months later for a movie to actually be screened in the cinema. And I remember going to this movie with a friend, and I was absolutely blown away by it. You know, I think I went like the next day or the day after and watched it again, paid again to watch it because I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, worth it.
Yeah, there was nothing like it out there at the time, I don't think. It was in some kind of way, you know, a little Spielbergish, if you will, you know, like a love story with, you know, all put in, you know, but just Corey Feldman alone in this movie is an you know, you can say about this guy whatever you want. I love Corey Feldman, man. I think,
There was a lot of good actors in this.
yeah,
movie, quite
Corey
honestly.
Haim,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, who would have ever thought that we were talking about that, you know, that he's the
Keith
one.
Sutherland.
Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland, absolutely. You know, one of his breakthrough role, I want to say
Quite
for
honestly,
him.
I think it's one of his earlier ones.
Yeah,
that
that's one of his
kind
early-
of blasted him off.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And he's quite the actor. Yeah.
Alex
yeah.
Winters.
Alex Winters.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
What's the girl's name again? She was isn't,
Star's name.
Star.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't she
I know
later
the
in like
name,
a
but-
Isn't she like in Seinfeld? She's one of the girlfriends of Jerry Seinfeld for a while.
She might have been. I know she was
Yeah.
in like Ally McBeal and
Oh, you
there's
know-
so many different.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know about the Seinfeld thing, but I know the rest of her catalog.
And same question at you, Aaron. What is a good memory of this movie for you?
Yeah, I've been trying to remember the first time I've seen this movie because it's like one of those movies I've just been watching
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and so in fact I rewatched it.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, like a few months ago. I think I watched it at Halloween last year,
Mhm.
around then. You know, and you know I like vampire movies, but I've always liked vampire movies that try and put their own spin and like put it. You know, the setting for this one was what really made it feel unique at first time I watched it. I want to
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
because you know it's this
Beach
urban,
vampires.
you know, California like what would vampires
Yeah.
be if they really
They're
were?
cool. They're
They'd
like
be a
heavy-
gang.
They're like glam rock vampires. You know, they're all glammy and
The place
Yeah.
that they filmed it was magical. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've ever been to Santa Cruz, and they called it Santa Clara in the movie, but it was Santa Cruz. It's a awesome place. So the spirit of the place itself was a great place to film.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah, I like the whole idea of a vampire like a gang.
Mhm.
You know,
yeah. On,
Yeah, it was
on
cool.
motorcycles.
Dirt
Yeah.
bikes.
Motorcycles.
Yep.
right, and it kind of really exploits the idea of like eternal youth. You know, they're this because you know a gang is like a youthful kind of thing.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. Yeah.
and it was just a really clever idea. And of course, all the actors just you know which is
Smashed
what
it out of the
makes
park. They were all
movie,
good.
yeah.
There wasn't.
Absolutely.
Even the Nook. Great job.
Yeah, right. The dog, right? Yeah, 100%. God, I got so much to talk about this movie. A couple of years ago,
Well, speak up then.
I was over in Santa Cruz, and they had a live showing of the Lost Boys on the
Mhm.
beach. They had a screen
That
set
would
up,
be
and,
cool, man.
and everyone was just chilling on the beach. I couldn't believe it. I was like, my wife had never seen the movie before. I was like, "Hon, you have no idea."
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, I was like, "You have no idea how cool this is right now that you're watching this movie for the first time
Wow.
on the beach in Santa Cruz."
Yeah,
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a good trip. We had a place right on the boardwalk, and I just never not have a good time.
Is this where you're from, Santa Cruz?
No,
or-
no, I grew up in California,
Yeah.
and so we were poor, kind of moved around a lot, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it was always a magical place for me. Had lots of good memories when we go there from my youth, and so I took my wife and we went over to Monterey Bay. I took her to the Bay Aquarium. Went down to Point Lobos, which is absolutely beautiful. It looks like a place out of a Japanese samurai movie. It's,
Oh, wow.
It's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, great pictures, good time. So, anyways, yeah, we went over to the bridge where they filmed the movie, where they dropped off the bridge.
Hell
and,
yeah.
you know,
Nice.
Hell yeah.
yeah.
That's badass.
And not too long ago, Tim Capella,
yes.
the
Yes. I was.
saxophone player, was here, and,
Yes.
and he
He was.
played.
He's such a nice guy. This dude.
Oh, he is amazing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
and
yeah.
so he was also Tina Turner's saxophone player, I
Yes.
believe.
Yes, he was.
And so he was amazing. He, solo career as well, and he toured.
I love it. I still believe.
Yeah, and so I took my wife to this. I was like, "This is the guy from the Lost
He
Boys
still looks
movie."
like this, man. You know,
Oh, he's still
in good
buff.
shape.
Yeah, he
this
works
guy.
out.
He's like what, 70
He
years?
does two things:
Yeah.
play the sax
And work out. Yeah.
And so I take my wife, and this guy, he just smashed it out of the park. And he's like,
He's
he has
great.
a wireless setup on his saxophone, so he's like running off stage, running all around the audience, just jamming, like hardcore jamming on his saxophone. Met him afterwards. Super nice guy.
Was it the Shredder?
Yeah, Shredder.
Yeah, I was there.
Thank you,
Yep,
Cantrell, for
I was there.
bringing such amazing.
Yeah, he signed my Lost Boys VHS
Hell yeah.
cover actually for me, and he wrote the same thing on that. I still believe. I'm not
Very
even kidding. I'll show it to you.
So yeah, I'm sure he's still running around today, and
He
he's an
is.
amazing fella. So yeah, I got a couple of good memories from this movie. Like it's provided some experiences in my life, and since the movie was made, not just watching it a billion times. So all right, we also like to. What about you, Chad? What is a good
Good memory. Well,
good memory?
this movie came out in '87, so I was 2 years old.
Yeah, but
Right.
it doesn't matter.
What are you trying to say with that?
So did it scare you?
I'll get to it. No.
He's like, I was
Okay,
shitless.
So, no, I loved it. So, as you guys remember, when we used to release movies, we would put them in the theater, and then sometimes you'd have to wait a year or
Oh,
two
Before they come out,
before they
VHS,
come out on VHS, and you could actually watch it in home, right? Because
Mhm.
at the time, you know, if you wanted to go watch movies in the theater as a release, that was a big fucking
Oh,
deal.
yeah.
It was
Now
expensive.
they
You
release
had to
it
buy your kids
3 months
popcorn.
later.
You had to drive there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
it was outrageous. So it was a big thing then. So I do remember I was at my aunt and uncle's, and they had a house in Post Falls. And my uncle loved movies like this, right? He was big into this kind of stuff and like Van Damme movies of the time, Bloodsport and all that.
Yep.
Anyways, he was able to rent this when it came out. So I was probably 3 or 4. I was pretty young, but I was starting to have memories, right? So I have memories of when I was young from this movie.
That's cool, man.
And it's just great. I've always loved it. Of course, I've shown it to my kids. I didn't love the series that they came out with, but I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
Right?
Are you talking about the other movies in that series?
Yep.
They're still fun to watch, man. They're corny as hell.
Which is unfortunate
Yeah.
since the first movie was a smash.
And I
It's
think
an
that's where I
absolute
stand
cult
on it.
movie.
Yeah.
you know? It's a cult classic. You know, no doubt about it.
Yep.
You know,
But loved it. It's part of my childhood.
yeah.
Can't erase it.
So we do a ranking here on the Creatures Cortex podcast. We rated 1 through 60. So we're going to go over 6 subjects. The first is the storyline. 1 through 10. How would you rate the storyline?
10.
10.
Just
it's very
all those
clever,
hooks
everything
and
about
weird
it.
things, you know, like stuff we didn't expect.
Solid. It had
Yeah.
originality.
Yeah,
had
yeah.
twists.
It's an 80s movie. Of course, it's going to be great.
Yes, absolutely. You're not wrong.
All right. The effects of the movie. The overall effects of everything. Vampires.
They had really good effects.
For
They had
those
a lot.
times,
Yeah.
I would say 10, dude.
I would too.
Because for those times, I mean, you got to remember 1987 when this came out, there was still, you know, like puppets and stuff they would do things with, you know, and
I'm a big believer in practical effects. I'm tired
Yeah.
of everything being CGI'd, and it does.
Oh,
not
yeah.
much is good.
I don't like it either.
Yeah, and it didn't really rely on a lot of effects. There's not really
Yeah.
that
No, just the
many.
vampires, really.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
So, like, to me, like,
Well,
whether the effects are good or bad, I like them.
It was just good
sharing.
acting.
When the vampire melted,
Oh, yes.
that was pretty awesome.
That was
right?
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, that was really cool, actually. You know, and it was great acting, so, you know.
Oh,
10
yeah.
out of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. All right, so rewatchability. It's a rewatchable movie.
I would say
I
yes.
think we could all
I watched this
concur
movie at
it's a
least
10 out of 10.
500 times. I own it on like 7 different platforms, you know, like a 4K, Blu-ray, DVD, everything, special steelbook, you know.
It'll never fail. You'll always
Never,
be able
I
to
will
watch it.
always watch that movie, regardless. Yeah.
So the actors, the overall performance of all the actors in the movie.
10.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, I can't think of anything less.
I was very happy when you picked this movie, by the way.
Well, thank you, because
Yeah.
we were going. There's so many good movies that you can pick, but this is like one of those movies that always will fall back to, where it's like I want to watch a cult classic, especially on Halloween. I do 30 days of watching nothing but horror movies. I watch horror movies every week, basically. But I do hardcore then. And this is always one of the first ones I pop in.
Yeah. All right, so the music or the music
Yeah,
of the
great.
it
The music. I'm gonna
awesome.
say I'm gonna go with the music about 8. There's some corny stuff on there, man.
There's
I
a
had
few
that.
tracks are kind of
Yeah, I had that record, man, on vinyl.
but the songs that they did use in the right context, like the part where the vampires were attacking the people partying by the fire, right?
Yes.
And
That like there shall not come or whatever, blah blah. That whatever it is. That was
the theme song.
The theme song,
Yep. That was the
absolutely
single for it.
why
amazing.
can't I remember that musician's name? Shit. Anyways, yeah, brain fart on the musician.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd give it a 10. You give it an 8.
I give it an 8.
I think I'd be an 8.
Yeah.
It's a perfect soundtrack.
It's not a perfect soundtrack. It's pretty damn good, but
It's hard to
It
find.
has moments of perfection.
It does. How about you?
I'll go with 9. Wasn't the best, but it was fucking great.
Yeah, it's definitely
The
good.
entire movie's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's split it at a 9. We'll
That's
give it a
good.
9 on music.
I can go for that.
Okay. Quotability. Did it have quotes that you could say to a friend and they would recognize?
Come on, Michael!
Yeah, come on, Michael. I was just gonna say that.
Well, my favorite's Death by Stereo.
That's great
Yeah.
too, man. That's
Oh.
great too.
One thing I've never loved about Santa Clarita, all that goddamn
Yeah,
vampire.
Yeah.
Goddamn vampires.
Yeah. There's lots of
Yeah,
quotes. in there.
quotability, 10 out of 10.
10.
10. Yeah.
Easy 10.
So let's get 59 out of 60. Suck that.
Make it
tomatoes.
60.
All right.
Just make it. Don't listen to us
Yeah,
with the
boom.
soundtrack.
No.
man.
We're
Yeah.
going to give it 59. It's not. It
59
is
and a
1
half.
point from being perfect.
It's
Right.
59 and a half.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call it about perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So if anyone has not watched Lost Boys, well, you're missing out. Go put it on. All right.
Yes.
It is a cinematic gem.
Yes.
It's a cinematic masterpiece from the 80s.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it holds up well. It'd be interesting to watch it without ever having seen it back then, but I think people would still like it. There's plenty of 80s movies that I've gone back and watched, and it's like,
Not so good.
really. They're all. I love that cheesy, corny stuff. So it's entertaining.
I mean, a lot of them are, but there's some
Yeah.
that are, it's like, But
Yeah, there's
this
some of them.
movie
Sure.
is, very. I mean, a lot of times when you go watch older movies, they're very slow by modern pacing standards, but this is paced perfect. It's interesting right from the beginning.
I'm glad,
Keeps you watching for
Yeah.
sure.
I'm
you know,
glad they
it's-
haven't tried to remake it.
Oh, you
and
don't
ruin
even
it.
say that, man.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Oh.
don't give anybody ideas here.
Hollywood needs
Yeah.
to stop doing that.
Oh, that's horrible, man.
Right.
Anything that do like they did the Salem Slot again. It was good from the effects, and it was not. I watched it; it was enjoyable, but why?
Did you see the brand new Hellraiser movie?
I have not.
I thought it was excellent.
I didn't even know there was
Which
a
one are you
brand
talking about?
new.
The one
It
where-
was released
on
on
Hulu?
Hulu, I believe. Yeah.
With a female.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
I
pretty
did
sick.
see that. That was
I like
actually
that.
really good.
They
It was brutal
they
as
put a little
hell.
bit of a twist on the
Yeah.
old story, but it was still freaking
That was
phenomenal.
brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the. Oh, here's another good scary movie that I've watched recently called American Mary, and I know literally no one that I've heard about this movie, and it's really sadistic, and I found it one of the best well written stories that I've seen in a while. And I don't care if I spoil it for anyone, but basically this medical student was raped by a professor, and she gets back at him by like capturing him, and then she like keeps him, and then practices all of her medical
Good
experiments
for
on.
her.
Oh, it is. You kind of don't feel bad for the guy,
Right.
but it's horrible. What she
Yeah,
does. She,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
So she becomes like this famous medical professor because she like got this guy.
What's the name of the movie?
I called him American Mary.
American
I don't think
Mary.
I've ever heard of
American
that.
Mary.
I have to check that out, man.
It is pretty.
That sounds like something that's
pretty
right up
cool.
my alley, man.
Yeah, it blew
Have you
me
ever
away.
seen Milo?
No, I haven't.
It's about a poop that is a monster comes out of somebody's butt, and it starts eating him from the inside, but it comes out and it kills people, and then he takes it back inside to keep it away from people so they don't get killed. It's an absolute nightmare, this movie, but it's entertaining, great acting, and there's actually the effects in there are really good. It's called Milo.
Milo, okay.
Yes, that's the name of the poop.
Sounds reminiscent of Human Centipede.
It's yes.
Right.
Human. Well, that's crazy German stuff right there.
That
Human
is a crazy
centipede.
movie.
Yeah.
The star Mr. Hanky or something.
Yeah, but it's like a killer, Mr. Hanky.
Nice.
That's what it is. I really with teeth, and it's amazing. You should definitely watch it.
So let's move on to TV. You guys into any TV shows? Been watching anything lately?
I'm a TV I'm a TV junkie, but go ahead, please.
I mean, there's so many shows, you know. I mean, we're always watching stuff.
So it doesn't have to be something that you're into right now. It could be just something that you're really into. Just what's a good TV show that you want to talk about?
I mean, my favorite show of the last few years has to be Severance.
Okay, I haven't seen it. Yeah, tell us about it.
It's just so. I mean, have any of you seen it?
I think my wife has. I haven't seen it.
Well, I mean, the general premise of the show is that there's a company where the people who work there have undergone a medical procedure that severs their brain into two consciousnesses.
Consciousness. That's
Yeah.
good.
So
I like that.
basically, they walk through the door and it flips a switch. Now they're this other person, and then when they leave, the switch is flipped, and neither of them have any memories of the other person. So it's like you're split into two different people. And it's just very thought-provoking. It's really interesting the way it's shot, the setting, everything.
I like that.
Really
wow.
I don't think I've ever heard of a story.
No,
It's on
I've never.
original.
Oh, Apple TV. That's why. That's the only one I don't have is Apple TV.
It's worth it to get it for a
Just for that?
That's just that
Okay,
show
okay.
is really, really awesome.
Okay, I have to check that out.
All right. What about you, Hansi? What are you into?
I'm an old sitcom kind of guy.
Yeah.
I love King of Queens. It's like one of my favorite shows. You know, I love Seinfeld. I'm a huge Seinfeld. I can probably I can go with Seinfeld quotes all day long.
Nice.
You know, it's like in the Festivus for the rest of us. You know, but anyway, there's just these kind of shows. You know, I love Married with Children. You know, like all those. You know, like 90s, early 2000s kind of sitcoms. One of the things I watched recently, a couple of years ago, it's a show on Netflix called Dark. I don't know if you heard of it.
Yep.
It's actually in German. It's a German, you know, and it's a little bit about time traveling, you know, and the great thing is they have Creator in there. They play actually Pleasure to Kill.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
vinyl. It's freaking awesome. dude.
It's on our list to watch because we always see it advertised to us on Netflix, but there's so many shows.
And they also
They've
got
gotten to it.
Mayhem, not Mayhem, Morbid. The Morbid album before Mayhem, you know,
Nice.
Dead was singing in Morbid. They have that Morbid album in there too in some kid's bedroom, and he's playing Morbid and shit in 1986. I'm like, dude, that was like me right there, you know. And great show. Just, you know, very... goes back and forth. You've seen some of it, maybe.
No, not really.
Okay,
Yeah.
it goes back and forth, like from the 1950s, 60s to now, and then to the 80s, and then with the same characters, the people, but they're of course different ages.
Like
and
Quantum Leap, sort of.
No, it jumps
No.
through time.
it jumps
okay.
through
The,
time.
the perspective
Yeah.
of the show jumps through time to
Yes.
different periods and eras of these characters.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a pretty crazy show.
You've seen it.
Yeah.
It's a great show. It's kind of hard sometimes to follow a little bit through the seasons, but
You just got to watch it more than once.
you do.
Once you watch it more than
Yeah.
once, more stuff makes sense, and you're like, "What the?"
Also, I mean, and that's hard for you guys. Of course, we watch this with undertitle. My wife, she understands quite a bit of German, but it's really hard to watch a movie because people speak very fast. So you watch the undertitle, but that undertitle there's 30-40% of that undertitle that really doesn't align with what they actually say.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
It's like it's like figure of speeches or some sort of things they say, that you can't translate into English really without making sense. And so they give you these like Rosa says, "That's bollocks." And I'm like, that's not what they said. You know, and, well, maybe I can't print that there. You know, so I don't know. You know, but that's not what they said. You know,
Huh.
and you know that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's a show that really got me hooked for a while, and I watched. I think it was 3 seasons of that. I watched all of those, and I was a little disappointed with the end of it. You know, but I'm not gonna talk about that. But if you know people want to see something cool,
Check
if you're
it
not
out.
afraid of Undertitle, you know, I watched Dark on Netflix.
How about you, Chad? What do you got on TV?
We just celebrated the anniversary of Tales from the Crypt. Came out June 10th, 89.
Of course, you guys have seen Tales from the Crypt.
Everybody has.
Yeah.
Yep. Love that show. I wish they'd do something else with it.
They
Come
need
up
to
with a
bring
new-
it back.
Well,
Yeah.
they did.
New generation.
They did.
For now, though. Yes, I remember. They did the TV limited episode, right? 10 episodes?
No,
Yeah.
they just did. Didn't they just did?
I've seen a fake advertisement going around Facebook, and it's fooled me. I was like, they're bringing back
Hang-
Tales from the Crypt.
Hang on a second.
And so, like,
Am I
don't
just
know.
hallucinating now?
You could have got fooled too.
Doesn't on Prime it's like 5 seasons already of like a TV
there's
show,
nothing
Tales from
new
the
that I
Crypt?
know of.
It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, but the old ones are still awesome.
Yeah. You can compare this with the old ones. It has the Crypt Keeper in it as well, and they're good. They're good stories. They're really kind of like tell the stories as in they did in the old Tales of the Crypt, just in a modern time.
Yep. And they had a lot of random guests on that show.
Yes.
They had a lot of crazy
Oh my
famous
God.
guests.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cameos.
A lot of
Yes,
cameos.
yes, like very famous stars.
Yeah, it was a
actually.
great show. I really wish they'd bring something like that back.
Mhm.
Because, we all loved it as kids, young adults,
Yeah.
growing up. It was just a great show. It was a great time. Yeah.
So,
Love it if they brought that back.
have you guys ever watched a TV show called The Max? It was released in 1993.
The Max?
The Max. It was a MTV oddity. At the same time, Aeon Flex was coming out, kind of right after the Beavis and Butthead was just taking off, right?
Yeah.
And so it was a late night cartoon, and it captured
Oh,
me.
the Max. They had a
The
comic
Max.
book with it.
Yes, I actually have the
That's
comic books.
right.
And it was an amazing psychological show about a guy with a multiple personality syndrome
Yes.
called the Max, and the woman he was fascinated with was Sarah, and it was amazing. The artwork was amazing. Sam Keith is a artist that other artists study. Right, his artwork was amazing. He did multiple comic books. The Pit was
The
one of,
Pit is
was
a
one of
great comic book.
Yep.
Spawn.
Yeah, and
You
so
know,
Sam
yeah,
Keith
yeah.
is an amazing artist.
Yep.
And so I wanted to talk about the Max because I was always famous. I was always a big fan of that. And I
That's
believe-
great. I haven't heard this since now. That you just mentioned this, now it all comes back.
Yeah, it starts
It's
coming
crazy,
back, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it ran between April and June in 1995 with 13 episodes. And so it was very little known. I've been waiting for him to do something.
I
with
watched it. That's why I stopped buying the comic books.
it. Aeon
Yeah.
Flux was awesome.
Image Comics.
Hmm.
It was Image Comics. That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my TV show I wanted to talk about today.
Great.
Is the Max.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So on to the next subject.
Yeah, let's get into some video games, dude.
Yeah,
You been playing anything?
I'm still crushing it out on Dead Souls.
Okay.
Yeah, that game is just keeping me locked in.
Still going with it.
Still going.
All right.
Yeah, I haven't actually beat the whole game yet.
Mhm.
And there's probably 100 upgrades, and I'm probably about a little bit 60% through them. So there's a lot more content.
Keep grinding.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the next big game is going to be. We haven't had a new generation console came out because, as we all know, PS5 was nothing but
You
a
mean
glamorous PS4.
4.5?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, what's the next big game going to be that's just going to change everything?
I don't know. I think this virtual, the artificial intelligence is going to have to take hold into the video game universe, and real artificial intelligence shit that seems like you're playing real people. That's strategizing against you. That's the big attraction to playing with real people is they're unpredictable, right?
Mhm.
And so when video games start, and they're getting better, they're a lot more intelligent than they used to be for sure. But pretty soon it's going to be insane.
It'll be like that movie Gamer, where you log into the
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie, dude. Gerard Butler.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite. I actually had to recently buy this on Blu-ray because I was looking for it.
Yep, great movie.
Okay, the best video game themed movie that I've ever seen has to be Existence. Have you ever seen that?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It's
I
like-
never heard of it.
No one's seen this movie. I don't. It had Jude Law
Jude Law.
and Jennifer
Okay.
Jason Leigh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's about basically like artificial reality, where it's like they have these organic computer devices that plug into your body,
Huh.
and so it takes over your sensory perception. So when you're in the game, you can't really tell that it's not real, and they play on those themes. It's really fascinating.
Sort of like right now because we're in the Matrix.
So,
Yeah.
Are we?
yes.
Very close.
I'm having a good time. I like the Matrix.
The video game I wanted to talk about is in my opinion, the best Castlevania game ever made was Symphony of the Night. Side scroller. It was a Metroidvania game like no other, and I still love it to today. It is freaking entertaining, fun. I wish they would actually like come out with another one just like it, expand it, make it like bigger and better, but keep the same kind of feel in it. It would be great. So Japan, if you're listening to this, let's go. All right,
That's awesome.
Get with it.
yeah. How about you, Hansi? What's you ever a video
Honestly,
gamer?
I'm not a gamer at all. I just don't have time to play video games.
Were you a video gamer when you
I
were
was.
young?
The last time I'm more of an old schooler, like Nintendo 64, that kind of stuff, you know, and
Okay. What is your favorite 64 game?
Donkey Kong Country.
There you go. Donkey Kong, huh?
Donkey
Smashing
Kong
it out.
Country.
Country,
Yes,
okay.
absolutely. I played that game until my fingers bled.
Hell yeah.
And I broke TVs and whatnot. You know, yeah, I'm not. You know, I'm a not very patient person when it comes to video games or losing in any kind of way. I don't like losing. You know, it's stupid. You know, it's a teenage kind of
Especially when
weird.
video games laugh
Oh,
at you.
video games. They like
Yeah.
make me die like in the same spot over and over. I will punish that game and the TV that it's connected to. I know it does, you know, I mean, in reality, it doesn't do anything, you know, but to me at the moment, this is the person that's going to get it, you know. So, I mean, somebody has to pay for my pain, you know. So I have in the 90s, man, I have hauled big round, you know, remember those glass ashtrays?
Yeah.
I have freaking throw them at TVs and broke them, and yeah, I don't play video games. I play a little game on my phone, a little ball game where you shoot balls and like little inhersures, like little Vikings trying to go
But
up
your
to
phone yet survives, huh?
Oh yeah, this is a
Okay.
game you can't really lose, man. It's like you just gain points and shit. It's just for before I go to work or something, getting ready, you know, waiting for my wife to get ready or something, you know, or whatever.
Okay.
But it's a waste of time for me, man. I like music.
How about books? We like to talk about books.
I don't read books.
you don't
I
read
can't
books?
read, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
No, are you,
But I hate books, man. The only thing I read is autobiographies and comic books, dude. I don't care
see,
for.
that's exactly
I don't
what we're
have
talking about.
patience
What's your
to look-
favorite comic book?
What's my favorite? Oh my
Yeah.
god, that's tough, dude.
All right.
What is my favorite?
Or one of your
comic?
favorites. It doesn't have to be the favorite.
Whoa.
Just name a good one.
Name a good one. Lady Death.
Lady Death. Oh, those are awesome. The artwork is amazing, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I absolutely loved it. Also, I think it's Image Comics,
Mhm.
exactly. And yeah, great theme, great story. But all these kind of, you know, like Spawn is another one of those. And of course, the old ones, you know, like Spider-Man, all that kind of stuff, you know.
Cool.
Or Marvel, DC kind of stuff. But I'm not really into reading or gaming at all. I just don't have the time, dude. I got 3 grandkids. you
I
know?
don't have to explain it.
Yeah.
We like to go over a variety of
Right,
subjects
right.
and see what
Well, I
you're
feel
interested
kind
in.
of bad. Everybody's like, this new game and this console. I'm
How
sitting there
about
going,
you, Aaron? You into any books? You like reading anything?
Yeah, also video games too. But I mean, I read a variety of books. You know, just all
not,
sorts of
this
stuff.
Playboy is not.
No, that's a perfectly acceptable
Oh, and
book in this
also-
podcast, right? He gets a pass.
So, like, if I'm reading fictional stuff, it'll be usually classic sci-fi like Arthur C. Clarke or
Mm,
Robert
nice.
Heinlein, something like that.
You read the Ender's Games?
Yeah, I read those books. It's been a long time now, but yeah,
Quality.
yeah. So all that kind of stuff I like, and then I'll just read nonfiction too. Like one of my favorite books is The Demon Haunted World by Carl Sagan.
Okay.
It's a great book.
I like Carl Sagan. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was really spectacular.
Mm.
And sometimes I just read random stuff. Like I read this book a few years ago about materials. Like, why would you read a book like that? But it was on sale for $2 or whatever on Kindle,
awesome.
right? So I read this book, and it was actually really fascinating.
About materials.
Yeah, so like one thing they talked about in this book, which I'll always remember, is how they invented self-healing concrete they use in buildings.
You need to tell me about
And
that.
It's really fascinating because so they take this bacteria, and this bacteria you can dry them out and put them in concrete, and they're just basically in hibernation. And then when something happens, like the concrete, it cracks, if it gets wet. So like, concrete, as it goes through heating and cooling and getting wet, like ice and water, it cracks and everything, and then the water gets into it. But when the water gets into the cracks, it actually kind of brings the bacteria to life, and they feed on this food that's been injected into the concrete, and they excrete like
Some kind of glue.
silica or something that
Yeah.
then
That's like the best $2 you ever spend right there,
I know,
man.
and yeah, so I read crazy
Super
stuff.
cool.
I know about concrete now.
How they
Yeah.
heal it with salt water.
Yeah, it's just a really
Crazy.
interesting. So I don't
Thank
have a
you.
lot of time to. Read.
Dude, I'm
It's
just
all
looking
right.
at your He-Mans up there. I'm like just fascinated. man.
Classic.
Yeah, I'm just like
Yeah.
staring at
I
everything.
I have
man.
Castle
I am
Grayskull.
a He-Man kid.
Yeah.
I grew up in that
Oh,
era.
me
I had
too, man.
All the toys.
I did
All
too.
the
Even
toys.
in poor kids in Germany, I had He-Man toys.
He-Man was huge.
I had to like
Yeah.
steal them sometimes from other people because we didn't have the money to buy them.
That's called acquiring.
Yes, it's not stealing. I was borrowing them because they didn't want to play with them anyway, So, but I did.
I wish I still had all the sets. So yeah, I found a
Well, they still have
Castle
them.
Grayskull.
Just
and
have
then
to go
I
on
was like,
eBay.
I found a He-Man. I'm looking for a good Skeletor, right?
Yeah, I saved to get the $20 to buy Castle Grayskull at the Great Western, I think, or Best West, Great Western. I don't know what that store was
And
called.
when we were kids, Castle Grayskull was bad ass, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still awesome.
That you have this and so nicely displayed. I absolutely love that, man. That's great. I've been looking at all the Star Trek Wrath of Khan poster, man. One of my favorite movies
I
of all
actually
time.
have-
dude.
I have Shatner's autograph on that too.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I met him a couple of years back at
He's a great guy, isn't he?
Con, and I've been collecting Star Trek autographs for a while. I got some real treasures up there.
You have any Leonard Nimoy?
No, and his are
That's too
expensive.
bad,
When you
yeah.
find them, they're like $1,200.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was
Yeah.
also not signing a lot, was he?
Well, no, he did.
Yeah.
They're out there, right? And they're authenticated, and
Yeah.
of course, there's no new ones because he's passed
Well,
on
yeah.
now. But what a guy! His documentary. I don't know if you ever watched it.
I actually watched that. Yes,
It like
Yeah.
it jerks at your heartstrings.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
what an amazing dude.
absolutely, no doubt.
Yeah, have you read like William Shatner's books on making the movies and making the shows, like Star Trek Memories and Star Trek
Yeah.
Movie Memories?
We need to keep
Those are
going.
great books.
But he was here years ago
Birthday boy.
and at a Comic-Con here in Boise, and I listened to him talk for it was like an hour, and he talked about almost dying filming a TV show here in Idaho, whitewater rafting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's like, I almost died, and of course he's super entertaining, and it's could talk your head off. So that was really cool. That was the first time seeing William Shatner.
I never met him before. I would love to meet
I didn't
him.
even get in the line that time. It was huge, and I was quite honestly intimidated. I was like, I don't even know what to say to a legend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you say, yes, hello, my name
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And
I
then
think that was my second Comic-Con I've been to, and I was still pretty new to meeting celebrities.
Dude, I remember watching Star Trek when I was like 5 or 6 years old on TV, and it was the greatest thing ever. I was my grandparents. I lived with my grandparents, and they let me stay up to watch Star Trek for half an hour, and then I had to go to bed. And that was for me always the highlight every Saturday. Watch a new episode of Star Trek.
It's still super
Oh
entertaining.
yeah, we own it. My wife is a huge Star Trek fan, and we own all of the the whole series, all the movies, and we actually have binged them.
I got to meet Nicole Nichols. That was the first Comic-Con I went to. I took my kids. I got to meet Mini-Me before he passed.
That's
on.
awesome. Yeah, I heard he was quite the cut up.
Oh, he was hilarious. I was like the first person in line to meet him when he came here to Boise.
Have you checked out the German deli and bakery in Nampa?
Yeah,
On 12?
it sucks.
You don't like it?
It's not German.
It's not Alpenhaus, I've noticed. I was like,
Well, it's not German. They're not from Germany. They're from the Ukraine, I want to say. Well, but they also don't have authentic. Everything is mixed in that store. If you're looking for German, Polish, or any of those foods, they're not in one section like there should be. They're everywhere. And I went in there with my wife, and I actually start speaking German in there, and they're like, "Oh, no, we don't speak German here." My husband, but he's in Portland. I guess they have another store in Portland, Oregon, and he works out of that store, and he knows a little bit of German, but he's not from Germany either. And I'm all like, you taking this authentic thing, and you're not even, you're not German. It's like me open a Jewish deli. It's like an oxymoron. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't like the place. It's overpriced. Alpenhaus is overpriced too, honestly. But at least it's an Alpenhaus. There's German people working there. German people own the place. They're always there. They will drink with you until the Alpenhaus is closed.
dude, their buffet is reasonable.
Oh,
you go in there for lunch?
Yes,
That's not bad.
yes, that's
I will
not
pay
bad.
$15
Their
for a
specials,
delicious lunch
their
like
specials are a
Yeah.
little more, but they're worth it. You get a lot of freaking food. I mean, that Wiener Schnitzel we had last night, dude, that was what, like a freaking, that size of a Wiener Schnitzel with German warm potato salad and red cabbage.
It was very good.
That was incredible, but the red cabbage was a little too sour. It gave me heartburn like hell, dude. It could have been one of those beers I chucked too. I don't know. Or the little Underberg schnapps I was doing here.
that. Yep, could have been something. Now's the cabbage.
So
The most healthy part of the meal.
Yeah.
since we're still on books for a few minutes here, have you heard about the new Spaceballs movie that's coming out?
Yes.
I have not. Actually, and I'm surprised I haven't, because I might have probably thought that was one of those AI things that wasn't real.
It is actually real, and Mel Brooks and a bunch of the actors are coming back.
Mel Brooks?
They better
really?
have. Now, all I say is they better have Tim Russ, right? He's the Tuvok off of Voyager, Star Trek Voyager. Anyways,
Well, John Candy was in it.
yeah,
right?
he was in, but he
Yeah.
said, but they are bringing back. I think his name was Barf's son. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Same thing with Lone Wolf's son.
yeah,
Lone
but,
Wolf's son will be
but they
there
are
too.
a lot of the original actors are coming back for
What
the
was
movie.
the little dude that was in all the Honey I Shrunk the Kids movies? He wasn't
Yeah,
that
he
one
will
too.
be there. Rick Moranis.
Yeah, Rick
Rick
Moranis is
Moranis.
going to be in it. Which is
That's
a big
great,
deal.
dude. I love it.
retirement.
Yeah, I love him. He hasn't been in movies, but in forever. He quit.
No,
didn't
he retired when his wife
Yeah.
got cancer
Yes.
and stopped
take care
doing
of
it
his
to take
kids.
care of his family.
Yes, my
couldn't
wife
do it
just
anymore.
told me that same story just a couple of days ago. I'm not even kidding you.
Super honorable.
It is
know?
very
Yeah,
honorable.
what a cool dude, man. Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I got Spaceballs the book at a used bookstore one day. I was like, I can't not leave without that. Like,
Yeah.
that's it's going home with me. I've actually got quite a good collection of like movie books now, like Dragonlance and Octopussy. I found One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest the other day, which is a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I got V. Remember the old TV series?
I
V?
own
I
V was one of my
Had a
favorite
full-blown
shows.
obsession with V.
Yes.
I
It's
was
so good.
Absolutely
Yes.
obsessed.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I remember taking some pieces of wood that were laying around my yard and painting them red and drawing the V symbol.
the
on
red
there.
V, yeah.
Yeah.
Or well, drawing like that black symbol that the
That's
visitors
awesome.
had with the black line and the dot, and the black line.
I could see him do this, actually.
I mean, I was full-blown obsessed with that show. In
Great
fact,
show.
I was watching it just the other day. I was watching,
I actually found it.
the original
I actually
miniseries
found it at a thrift
a week
store
ago.
for like $5. The whole series, the miniseries.
Wow.
You know, with Robert Englund in it as well. You know?
Yeah.
And great
Freddy?
role. Yeah, great role for him. You know, I mean,
Robert Green was such
Yeah.
a talented
but
actor.
one of the most underrated actors of all time, if you ask me. What he did in Nightmare on Elm Street as acting and putting that character into perspective, man, he should have, in my opinion, won an Oscar for this, man. But he didn't because it was, all the people that do that kind of movie, they're like,
That
what
one
nothing to
Nightmare
do
on
with
Elm
that.
Street that they did without him was
Yeah.
not. They should just.
I watched
Wasn't
it.
great. It was not great.
It's I watch anything once, or half.
Yeah, it was alright. It was just a different thing.
Yeah.
It didn't have the. I mean, it didn't have the campy charm of.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not like
Robert Englund himself brought
You are all
Yeah,
my
like, yes, the
children
charisma.
now.
Yeah,
No, they
yeah.
were never
to
scary.
Freddy.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember watching Nightmare on Elm Street, and actually the movie that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Well, I was like 12 or 13, maybe 14. Was The Evil Dead.
Ah, great movie.
Dude, I watched it. This is a true story, and some people that know me know this story.
Well, Sam.
Anyway, I had this girlfriend that lived by a castle, actually, in Königswinter. She lived by a castle on this fucking mountain in his house, and with her parents. I went up there and we partied. We were drinking, and we watched The Evil Dead on VHS. And that's the first time I ever seen it. I was like, she's like, you gotta watch this movie. It's so scary. And I'm like, nothing scares me. And I was like 14. I was like, nobody can touch me. I'm like, I'm not afraid of nothing. And I watched this movie, and I was like going to this movie, and I knew I had to walk in the dark, a mile down this freaking mountain in the pitch dark. And around me on this way to the bus station, I'm not shitting you, it's just woods on this side and woods on this side. And it's pitch dark. There's no lights, dude. So you had to have a lighter, like a cigarette going the whole time you're walking down there. You'd be gone. You'd be like in the woods somewhere. And I knew I had to do that. So I was watching this movie, and after I watched it, I got a little worried. Because who knows what's jumping out of the woods, right? Getting raped by some tree or something,
Or a bear.
Right.
Cocaine.
And in Germany, not some more like wild boar, maybe. But so I took a kitchen knife, like one of those little steak knives, and I stuck it in my leather jacket, and I said, "I'm gonna go now." And I walked on, but I had to catch this last bus to get back home, dude. And there was there was no more buses, and then from there was no way out of there. You've been walking for days, man. And her parents didn't want me to stay there, so I walked down there, and I had that knife in my hand. And I was singing like German, like soccer hooligan songs. I was like singing like, and we are number one, come on. So everybody's scared, all the ghosts and stuff is scared of me, dude. It's so embarrassing, But that's the only movie that really freaked me the hell out to the point where I had to weaponize myself.
I have one scene in particular that freaked me out. But what about you? Do you got any scary movies that actually psychologically damaged you for a while or for life?
I mean, movies didn't tend to really scare me. But then again, I've never watched a horror movie and then walked through a haunted ancient German forest in the middle of the night afterwards.
Yeah, that's a
so
plus.
I think that makes a difference.
Ancient German forest. That's great.
But I do remember the movie that came the closest to freaking me out was The Exorcist.
That was bad.
I
Yeah, that
saw
was
that.
crazy. Yeah,
That was genuinely creepy.
I love playing.
where her head turns in circles, and she like, "Fuck me, Jesus," and then she's. It was really crazy.
Yeah, and I saw it
But for some strange
way.
way, I had a fascination with the actress. I thought she was cute. Even so, when obviously she was a child, but I was a child. I was probably younger than her at the time. But I thought she was just cute. Even when she was possessed,
until she starts vomiting.
No, I thought that was kind of cool too.
No, he liked her standing backwards, peeing on the carpet.
That's another scene that was quite enjoyable. Yes.
How about you, Chad? Any scary movies got your heart pumping at any time?
Just The Exorcist. Like Aaron said, I love The Exorcist, but it was fucking freaky as hell when I was a kid.
For me, it was Creep Show 2, and there was this one, because there was a bunch of like mini movies, and it was the raft, right? And there was like this big slime slick. The kids and these women like swam out to this little raft in the middle of this lake. And there was this slime slick that was a monster that would eat you. It was horrific, and I still can't watch it without just like
This has scarred you for life.
It scarred me for life. All right, this is a bad
Creepshow
one.
2.
Creepshow 2, The Wrath.
Who would have thought?
And for being made when it was, like, you watch it today and it will still fuck you up. Okay?
Are they making a new Creepshow?
I don't know.
No, actually, that is what I was talking about. It wasn't Tales from the Crypt.
I think
It
they're
was
making a new
Creepshow.
Creepshow.
They're already
Okay.
into 5 or 6 seasons already. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
great.
I think I've seen
really
some
good.
of those.
Really good, actually. Yeah.
They're a bunch of mini stories.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Just like Tales from the Crypt. Or
Yep.
All right, so next is on to our local hero. Do you guys have a local hero, someone that you might want to talk about that you know that's doing something, shout out worthy?
In particular, a person I couldn't say.
Because it doesn't have to be just a person. It could be
Right.
a
I would
group
say
of people.
Idaho Food Bank for sure.
Okay.
Yep, that works.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we just went there with Inner Beast together, and and did a Saturday with them, and it was so much fun. It was great to work there. We worked asses off, dude, man. Even the lady that was there, she said we worked in 2 hours more than a shift would work in 8 hours. And we were in the apple zone. We were doing apples. It was amazing. It's so much fun. We're going to do it again next month.
Awesome. Yeah.
Love the Idaho Food Bank, what they do for the community, and helping out people, their needs, and sadly this country, and here I'm going somewhere. No, sadly this country, the welfare system is one of the worst in the world. This is the richest country on the planet, and your health system and your system in general when it comes to helping people in needs.
How
It's
preach it, bro.
absolute scheiß, man.
Even South Park is making fun of it.
Yeah,
They just wrote like a whole episode talking about navigating the American medical system and what a nightmare it is. Like,
it's crazy, that you have to sell, a kidney in order to work on your other good kidney.
Yeah, of course we want our doctors to make a lot of money, but we got to keep shit reasonable. Like people will go broke. Like,
and I'm no person to talk about politics.
Number one reason of bankruptcy is medical bankruptcy.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember back in the day when my kids, $150,000. In 1993, dude, that was a lot of money, and it's like, what am I gonna do? You want me to harvest my body parts on eBay or something? It's like, obviously, you get out of those costs at some point, but it's ridiculous.
But it's not the worst system, but it's definitely
No,
not the best.
no.
There's a lot of room for
Right.
improvement.
What I'm saying is, and I'm not a political person at all.
No,
So I don't talk about-
everyone should be. Everyone should have
politics
some
are
kind
like
of-
assholes. Everyone has one. It's like everyone has an opinion. It's like
One of the biggest things that I think politics has gotten so messed up is we're not talking about it, right?
Yeah,
And people are not telling their opinions and making the logical arguments that need to be made.
right.
And so it's something we don't avoid here
No,
on our podcast.
but it's the same. It's the same. Anywhere you go in the world, man. There's certain people that people have an opinion about what one party and one person or another party. I just stick with the straight line of don't be an asshole. Again, just like when you meet people in a band, that's how I'm with politics.
Pretty easy, right?
It's like don't be a douche.
It should be pretty easy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It
I mean,
should.
it's like use your brain or what you got left of it, and do the best with it.
Brains.
I would have voted for fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger to be president. Man, he would make a great president.
Hey, he almost made it. He was working his way up the line.
He was governor of California.
Yes, he was.
It's not bad for an Austrian
Not
actor.
bad.
So me and Chad's local hero is our local fire department.
Yep, we
Great.
decided on the fire department.
We
Great.
think that the firefighters are the real heroes.
And the emergency services, of course.
Absolutely.
Paramedics as well.
Yes,
And
yes.
they're involved with it. Same division.
And but we appreciate all the work that they do, and it's hard work. And I actually seen because I live right next to the freeway. I heard some ambulances and noise. I poked over my head over, and there was a car like literally on fire. And watched the fire department go over there, and they had they're all suited up and hosing this car. It was literally just flaming down, and I was like, "Yep, the real heroes at work."
Oh yeah.
Saving lives, and And it's just sometimes shit gets on fire, and those guys.
Somebody has to put it out.
Those guys have.
Yeah.
They're
No, you're right. You're definitely right. That's great. Great shout out.
So shout out to the firefighters of the Boise and
Treasure Valley
area, right?
All over.
All over. Yeah, right. All over.
Yeah.
It's a local business that you guys like to partake in, something that you
Outside,
use often or believe in. It could be a coffee shop.
Yeah,
it could be
it's obvious. You know.
anything.
Alpenhaus, that's Alpenhaus on Vista Avenue. You know, it's for us. It's family. It's fun. You know, it's like it's family friendly as well. Maybe not when we're there, but you know, it's great food, great beers. The owner is an absolute amazing human being. You know, and all the people who work there are great. You know, and you go there and you feel welcome. You know, that you don't ever feel like, you know, I can go there looking like this when families are sitting there with their kids and nobody. Well, these people might look weird at me, but everybody there knows who we are and they're happy to see us.
Yeah.
You know, and so I love that place and I love Jamie and
What
Greg.
would you say
know.
one of your favorite things to eat there is?
Oh, that's tough because I mean, I go there for we go there every Friday because they have a special that night, a different special, and we go for those specials, you know, mostly. But if we go there on an off night, or you know, and they don't have a special, we usually go for like a doner kebab or you know,
So
like
the
a
chef,
gyros, you know,
the chef makes pretty good specials.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Shout out
very,
to the chef.
very authentic, you know, and all the people that work there, they're great. It's not just the chef himself, but all the people that work there, they're all, you know, come up with their own, I'm going to do this fish or this and that. And it's worth every penny. You were never going to walk out of there like hungry.
That's right. Yeah, and it, you know,
Or disappointed.
Or disappointed, you know.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know. It's like we doing this just after rehearsal, you know. We like to have a couple beers, you know, on a Friday night, you know, and go out.
You betcha.
And so we sit there and have some beers and we talk about God and the world, you know, and you know, about our band. We're promoting our band everywhere we go, of course, you know. I make people like go on Spotify and like us and stuff. I'm like, hey, have you checked out my new band? They're like, no.
I love all the merch you guys got going on too.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm like Gene Simmons, you know, when it comes to merch. You know, I would sell caskets if I would have the money for it. You know?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that you guys got vinyl.
I see that.
It's like a dream of mine to get something on vinyl. Right?
Oh yeah, this is a dream of ours as well, man. We, you know, I mean, that's the first thing we said is when this record is going to get released, we want to do vinyl, you know. But you know, it's all a matter of finances, you know. And if you know yourself, you know, when you a local band on a local band status and you don't play covers and no stab at anybody that does, you know, whatever flips your canoe, man, it's all good, you know. But if you play in your own originals, you don't get paid, or rarely you get paid anything.
If you're lucky, you get beer.
Yes, you're gonna have to pay most
Beer
of the time for
tickets.
your own
Beer
drinks,
tickets.
like for you and your whoever you're with there, you have to pay the drinks.
Shout out to Knitting
Couple
Factory
$100
for giving us beer.
Couple $100 right there,
Yeah.
you know. And then you're going to talk about maybe you have to pay for parking somewhere and this and that, you know. And it's like you really don't get paid. And that's fine, you know, because you're doing it for exposure, you know. But it's like, anyway, moving on.
All right, so moving on, we're on to Moto. What do you got on Moto?
Yeah, motorsports. Meridian Speedway is getting down right now. Same thing with Firebird.
I can hear it from my house.
Yep, middle of race season. Yes, you can. It's funny that you could hear it from here. We are just a hop skipping away, aren't we?
We are.
Yep, right through the neighborhood.
But it's popular. These Meridian nights, well, I'm sure the whole area, they love the Meridian Speedway. It's popular. That parking lot's filled. They got some, looks like they got some good taco trucks and stuff.
A bunch of vendors.
Yeah,
well, racing's very popular here. Racing, four-wheel drive trucks, mud trucks, all that boat racing. It's all very popular here.
Yeah.
Well, of course it is. I know.
Yeah, and the Meridian Speedway is pretty cool. It's like right in the middle of downtown Meridian, right by the big water tower.
Yeah,
Yes,
a friend of mine drives actually a racing car at the Meridian Speedway.
Nice. Is he racing tonight?
I don't know. He's a musician as well in the scene, and he's been car fanatic and Andy Shantz. I don't know if you know Andy Shantz. He's been Suncap Brothers.
I'm not sure. I don't think I've heard of
Old
it.
school
I know
Seattle
Seattle
guy.
brothers.
You know, they used to all live in Seattle. You maybe know Big Potato.
Nope.
Okay.
Baked potato.
Yeah, those kind of guys.
Are you
Anyway,
sure they're from Idaho?
they're not from Idaho. They're from Washington,
I love
Seattle.
that name, baked potato.
But they all moved here to Boise like 20 years ago. You know,
Oh yeah.
and they're like fun people. Anyway, yeah,
Hell yeah.
racing.
Also Firebird Raceway up and going.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Plenty of races going on there.
Yeah, that's a big one. I went to one event there, and it was amazing. It was super cool.
Was it the nitro cars?
They had a bunch of them.
Nitro cars are cool.
Yeah, they just had a bunch of
Nitro cars are cool.
I actually had my Triumph at that time. I was like, man, I would love to go up, but you have to have like the full body suit. There's like all these like rules that you have to
Abide by.
before you can even get on the track, right?
Yep, that is correct. They check your vehicle so you don't just murder everyone.
Or yourself.
Yep.
Yep. But yeah, that's
Okay,
That's it for
Hansi,
those.
what is your dream car?
Yeah,
I don't drive, so. But
that's not what you asked.
I
What
was
is your
just
dream car?
I was just at the Nürburgring
Hmm.
in Germany. It was like one of the biggest Formula One racing
Oh, I love
tracks in the
Formula
world,
One.
and that's one more. If I watch any kind of racing, it's going to be Formula One.
Okay, so you want an F1 car. Those are sick.
No, not necessarily. I think for me, honestly, I would get away with just a Ford Fiesta, man. You know what I mean? Like one of the 80s Ford Fiestas,
Okay.
where you can almost punch a hole through the ceiling with your fist. That's what I would be driving.
So if you
Okay.
won the Powerball today, that's what you'd
No,
buy?
no, that's not what I would be driving.
That's
if I
what
win
we're
the
talking
Powerball
about.
tonight, I
You
did
won the
buy a
Powerball.
ticket, so
What would you go buy?
I probably would buy more something like on two wheels than on four.
Well, tell us
Okay.
about it. What kind of bikes do you like to ride?
Definitely not Harleys.
Okay.
I don't like, I'm not technical.
I'm a big Triumph fan. I love Triumph.
Triumph
I love
is
Triumph.
absolutely,
Yeah.
of course, man.
I used to have a Speed Triple and a
I used
Straight
to,
triple.
in Germany, I rode a Yamaha 750 that I made into a shopper with a coffin tank, and I had 16-inch steering on that, man. This was like in the mid-'80s, and in Germany, you couldn't afford a Harley Davidson, man. You would have to murder someone, I mean, not that anybody would ever do that,
Plus, like
Like,
I've been finding out about a lot of like these overseas tariffs and stuff. They actually ship our products out of America into other places. Actually, costs a lot more than you would think. Like they don't want our products going into other countries, and that's where we're kind of like failing on the manufacturing side.
But you're
getting
also
ourselves.
paying for German parts a hell of a lot more here than you would pay in Germany.
Mm.
That's normal,
because it's being shipped
Yeah,
overseas.
they're being
Yeah.
stingy over there with with taxes and everything too. I mean, but yeah, racing Formula One for sure. Like I said, we were at the Nürburgring. My brother-in-law is a huge racing fan, and he watches all the one of these movies with Vin Diesel, all the
Oh, Fast and the Furious.
Fast and Furious.
Furious,
But
yeah.
he's like into it, he dresses like this, and he's like he watches like these little cars, running all day long for like 8 hours, and there's like 10,000s of people out there, and it takes you like 3 hours to get a parking spot and shit, and he does that, So yeah, we've been down there, and I just seen these BMWs and Porsches going like an incredible speed. You would just sit there and watch, and all of a sudden you hear something, and my brother-in-law would be like, "Hansi, watch." And all of a sudden this Porsche comes flying on the speedway there. You only hear and see this ring, and it's gone. And then you wait again for it to come. It was a minute or so, you wait again, and it's like, but every time that car goes by, that power that you feel in your chest, man, coming out of that car, is pretty
spectacular.
hardcore, man.
Yeah.
It's like you stand there and go, I wouldn't have the balls to drive that thing, man. I know I would kill myself, going in that corner, man. I'd be gone. I couldn't do it. But yeah, that's
I don't
kind
know.
of like,
Speed's kind of addicting when you get into a fast vehicle,
Yeah, it
and
is.
it's buttery
Yeah.
smooth, right? And then you're taking corners, and it feels safe, right?
Oh,
It feels
yeah.
natural.
And then
Feels good.
you tend to get a little bit more brave, right,
Yeah.
with the right vehicle. I know on my motorcycle I was a little bit of a speed demon. It's a good thing I got rid of them because I probably would have had some tickets.
I haven't owned a bike since the late '90s, man. Honestly, because my wife would even say, like, no, you're gonna die.
All right. How about you, Aaron? You just won the Powerball. What is the car you go by?
Yeah, dream
I
car.
don't know. I mean, I'm not really a car guy, so I don't really pay attention. So if I were going to go buy a car, it would be 6 months of research, and then I would buy something cool. So
6 months of research.
That's right. Because I would nerd out on.
You got to pick
Nothing
pick the right thing with that kind of money.
Exactly. So
I go by
what would you get?
Dodge Viper.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, give me that Viper, baby.
You're a Dodge fan, huh?
No, I love all. Actually, my ultimate dream car would be the Mitsubishi GT VR4 twin turbo.
That's an old man car.
It's not.
Only really rich old man drive those cars.
It is one of the pinnacle Japanese sports cars back in the day, when they were making the really good Supras and stuff. Yeah. So it was like during the good Japanese car days. Like, man, the cars nowadays are just not sexy. They don't look good. Even the sports cars, I was disappointed with the new Supra. I was like,
I disagree. C1 or the newest Corvette is sick.
Oh, the Corvettes are fire right now. They look like freaking mega supercars. Yeah,
it's not an engine in the front. It's mid-engine.
Corvettes are dope right now. Like,
what does mid-engine mean?
Yeah, the engine itself.
Yeah.
Instead of being at the very front of the car where it normally is, the engine is in the middle of the car, right behind the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how happy I would feel with that kind of being right behind me.
It puts the
I mean, you already got a bomb in there. What does it matter where it is?
It puts the weight of the car right in the center versus right in the front, right? And so you have a better center balance.
Center of gravity.
Yeah.
Or like, a backpack motor, in the VW Bugs.
But yeah, those new Corvettes, man, sick.
Yep. Yeah, they are amazing. So that's a new car that is actually sick.
Right.
I would buy a plane, dude, like a little jet.
Yeah, you could.
Hell yeah.
For that price.
I would fly everywhere. Fuck driving. Sorry.
Get a helicopter.
I didn't mean to cuss.
Oh, no, cuss all you want. I want to build a helicopter so bad.
Yep.
I would love to build a helicopter.
I'm behaving here already.
We drink more of that beer and miss.
No, I'm good.
There's no editing of the cuss words.
That's good. That's good.
I like that. We thought about it at first, and then we were just like, it's hard for us to be natural if we're trying to avoid.
It's like every knitting factory show I played. I say, can you please try to not cuss too much? There's like all ages. I'm going like, no problem. I come out on stage, and the first thing is F-bombs everywhere. And I see all these kids standing there. I'm just going, well, you brought them here.
I went to my
Let
kids'
them
school.
Learn some real stuff.
No. I went to my kid's school, and by the time I got out of my car and into the office, I heard more swearing on the school campus
than
I have ever heard in my life. Right?
Yeah.
It was not like that when I was in school.
Yeah.
Your ass would be suspended and thrown out. Right? Your parents would be pissed. Okay. It is not the same school that we went to.
Yeah, no, it is not.
No, it is not.
I heard a lot of swearing in my elementary school, but not around teachers, though.
Oh, they was straight in front. There was teachers standing
out on
down.
the playground, though. There were first graders that talked like sailors.
But all the generation now, they're under so much pressure, and they have just so much pressure going on in life. What to do with their life. Because I remember me growing up. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I had no clue either, what I mean? It's like everybody had a tough life or has a tough life, It's like when my youngest daughter is Gen Z, and there's a mentality sometimes, it's like I have a hard time. I understand my grandpa more and more every day, when he was like, I hate living in these times, I said, what are you talking about, old man, shut up. And he's like, no, people are stupid. No, man. And so older I get, man, so more I realize my grandpa was the smartest man alive that ever lived.
I feel that all the time about my grandpa, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, I honestly feel the same. We're just getting dumber and dumber and dumber.
Yeah. So the movie, why didn't I pick that movie?
Idiocracy.
It's not a movie anymore. It's a documentation now, actually. Yeah.
You mean you don't water plants with Brondo?
Let's go Camacho. All right.
It's good for you. That's electrolytes.
That's what
But why? That's what plants crave. I'm not a plant.
Yeah, that one's on the list.
The best one is Taco Bell owns your child.
Yeah, right. You need water from the toilet?
Yeah.
Or how about
Why?
Demolition Man? That's also like
Oh, great and accurate.
Yeah,
Taco Bell's the only one restaurant.
We're gonna eat at Taco
Bell.
Bell.
No, it's fine establishment now.
Fine establishment.
Shit, that's awesome. All right, so we're gonna go on to politics. Okay. Yeah, it's fun. Gulf of America, like it? Yes or no?
I live in America. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
No, the Gulf of America. They changed.
Oh, Gulf of America. I was like, how do you feel about America?
Gulf of America to Gulf of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. What do you think about that?
You want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
I think it's stupid.
Okay.
I think it's absolutely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Why? What does that do?
But why
You
not?
know?
They change names of things all the time.
But why? It's like when somebody calls Lemmy Lenny.
Here's my why is why didn't Mexico rename the Gulf of California to Gulf of Mexico?
I don't know.
That's what I would
know.
do
Yeah,
if I
I
was
mean,
Mexico. Be like,
yeah.
Gulf of California, you're now the Gulf of Mexico. Have a nice day.
They probably just don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I have a
They're
million opinions.
They're busy
when it
selling
comes to
drugs and
politics,
trying to
man.
smuggle shit across the border. Yeah, I'm sure the cartels are really freaking out right now.
So, I mean, I tell you what, man. If you want to touch politics, I can't vote in this country. I'm not allowed to. I'm not a citizen.
Yeah,
I'm a green card holder. Yeah, now you know. Anyway, I had no problems coming back. They welcomed me with open hands because I'm not poor, and I'm white, and I'm from Germany. You know, so I'm okay. You know, but people are tired. You know, in the world, people are tired in Germany of what's going on over there. You know, with all
No, it's not just
immigrants
here.
coming to Germany and getting basically
It's
everything
everywhere.
they want, and their crimes committed on street, people being stabbed, 7-8 people stabbed in the middle of the street, kids, everything.
by people they can't be in it.
Yeah, you know,
can't be identified because
So when
there's
somebody
no
says,
people.
I want to control, you know, if you want to come, and this is why I came to America in 1991, because I want to make a better life for myself.
Mhm.
My wife, my girlfriend at the time also, who was American, moved back to the States, and I said, I'm going to be the father, and I'm going to move there.
Mhm.
So I went all the right way, you know, of working, getting my working license, and all this and this. And if you're that kind of person, no one should have a problem with you. I don't care your skin color, where you come from, who you are, what color you shit, man. I don't care. You know, but if you're coming in anybody's country and you're going to act like a fool, and you're going to be disrespectful, and you're going to rape women or kill people, then you need to get to go where you maybe want to be. Or, you know,
Maybe you shouldn't be.
yeah, that's
there.
my opinion.
Okay. That's any country. That's not just here.
Right, that's everywhere.
That's
That's
everywhere.
everywhere. So my opinion is it doesn't really matter what my opinion is. You know, it's like all I heard in Germany when we were there for vacation was, you know, did you vote for Trump? And I was like, I can't vote. I'm not allowed to vote. And they're like, well, would you if you could have? And I said, I'm not here to have this conversation.
American
I'm
politics.
here to have fun and have a drink with you. I don't
Was
want
American politics something that came up a lot?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They were asking my wife constantly while she was drinking water.
Interesting.
I said, "Why are you drinking water?" Oh, it's to stay hydrated. That's weird. They were all like, "That's weird." They're all drinking beer and shit.
Shit, I
That
love
was,
water.
that was hilarious, man.
My wife doesn't like water. I'm like, I love water. Like,
I'm not a fan of water, so either. I drink now a hell of a lot more than I used to because I don't want to be a prune, you know. But it doesn't have no taste. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's why I like it. It's just clean.
Yeah, it's
You
just
know?
like it's just
Yeah.
like swallowing your own spit, just not as warm, you know.
Yeah.
Cool and refreshing spit.
But all right, how about the legalization of cannabis? Are you for it or against it?
Me?
Everyone. Yeah.
There's nothing against it from my side.
Yeah. How about you?
I mean, if alcohol is illegal, I don't know why. I don't know.
You mean if
I don't know how you
alcohol's
can
legal,
justify
yeah,
making
yeah.
alcohol legal, but not cannabis.
You are 100% right. Yeah.
You know,
I can't believe it's still an issue here in
Yep.
Idaho. And they're actually
Well,
making
I
laws.
believe
Enough
it.
reasons.
Yeah, I believe
making
it.
laws against it. They just like made a minimum mandatory fine for any amount that you're caught with. I mean, I'm sure there's more if you got a lot, but yeah, it's pretty ridiculous that they're actually still making that a concern of theirs in the political world.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It is stupid.
I think it's a waste of time
yeah.
to even not, I mean, look at Holland, what they did, bouncing the budget right there, doctor, lawyers, and coffee shops, who gives a shit, Yeah.
I got one political question. What color Red Bull?
Ooh, that's a divider right
I
there.
haven't.
divider.
I used to be an energy drink connoisseur, but I haven't been in a long time because I like to live. But I would say regular Red Bull,
Regular.
regular
That's the
blue
color.
Red Bull,
Mhm.
but the big one, like the
Okay.
24 ounce,
big dog.
the big dog.
Aaron,
Yeah.
what color Red Bull?
I've maybe had Red Bull like twice, 3 times in my life,
You missing out, man.
and I don't remember exactly what kinds
It's
they
good
were.
with
I don't
Jaeger.
really. I do drink energy drinks. I got off them for a while, and then I fell off the
I got
wagon.
off them for a while. It's like
So,
I went into
yeah,
rehab.
They're addicting.
I went
They
into-
are.
Oh,
I'm
it's
I'm a
sugar,
computer
and
programmer.
caffeine,
My job
man,
is full
Yeah.
by caffeine. So,
Okay, what's the brand then?
but I am not a person who can drink the same thing constantly, so I drink endless variety of
The
stuff.
Gamut.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right.
What color?
I like the blueberry, quite honestly.
Dark blue.
Yeah, the blueberry's good.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
okay, we all still friends here?
Are we?
We all agree that the Red Bulls didn't divide us?
Oh,
The Red Bull has not divided.
Okay,
Carry
yeah.
on.
All
well,
right.
if that would be a thing to divide people, then I'm worried
never
right
know.
now.
Yeah.
People are divided for less, strangely enough.
I know.
It's so strange.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. Remember the comedian Dennis Lurie?
Hmm?
One of my favorite
Dennis Leary.
comedians. And it's like, whine about this. My dad's like, put on a helmet and mow the lawn. It's like, shut up. Just get slapped upside the head. Do your chores, It's like, those times are gone. And we live in now in a time where I work with people, younger people at my job, and I want to talk about where that is.
Sure.
At my job, people, they're like, you say something or you ask them to do something work-wise, and they look at you like you're hurting them. You hurt my feelings by saying that. How dare you hurting my feelings, I feel so bad now. It's like, I don't get it, Why have we turned into soft washing detergent, What the hell has happened,
Softening.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's like, I remember
Yeah.
my kids when my kids were little and they would in the grocery store run around, scream, and grab apples. I would spank my son's ass in the middle of that store, man, and he would be quiet after
Yeah,
that.
now the
Now you
child
like
control
you're going
service
to
would be
jail,
like,
man,
"Did you
for
spank
abusing
your
a
son?"
child.
Or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, geez.
It's the last of the good children. I kind of feel the same way with my children.
Yep.
The last of the children who were kind of raised wild, kind of raised on the different set of morality that the old school generation gave
Yep.
to us.
No, you're not wrong.
Remaining.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Your generation is that exactly. Because we have a daughter. She was born in 1986 as well. I want to say Rachel, yes. And around that time, I'm not 100% sure, but she's going to kick my ass. But yeah, no, they're raising their children still to that old school vibe as well, with respect. I don't ever remember when I was a teenager and I would go to a bar, Germany, and I would go to a bar and I would disrespect any older dude. I would have got my ass kicked right there in the bar, laid out, man, and you didn't do that. You had respect for the generation before you.
Yeah, it was drilled in our heads from
That-
our parents.
Yeah,
right? Be
you better
respectful.
watch it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. From little on. Now it's all like,
Here's your tablet. Have
yeah,
fun.
any little punkso is gonna shoot you. Because they don't know. They don't want to use their fists. They're gonna just stab or shoot you because they don't know how to fight. And
Some of them.
to me, that's absolute
There's a lot of
dishonorable.
jiu-jitsu students out there nowadays, and a lot of good martial artists.
That's-
Like
yeah,
the whole,
That's great. I've done martial
community
arts for 30 years, man.
Is,
It's
is really
like, yeah.
boosted the fighting knowledge of the public.
Well, I have seen some fights lately, like in grocery stores and whatnot. They were quite they were fighting like children. These men,
Mhm.
okay, like.
Oh my goodness! I love those fights. They're
I mean,
very
it's
entertaining.
actually more, and it's just like watching a train wreck. You just
Yeah.
can't watch a train wreck. You know, you just sit there and go, "What is this?" Like all of a sudden, I'm waiting for like all of a sudden they're breaking out and dance. You know, it's like boom! All of a sudden, Michael Jackson comes around the corner. You know, they all like start dancing and stuff.
You want a dance fight? Bro?
Yeah, that's right. I was like, "Oh, I'm bad. I'm really, really bad." That's right.
Yeah, we don't have the respect factor that we used to have. The morality set that we used to have, it's really disappeared now.
Sad.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what your grandpa and my grandpa were
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about is the disappearance of the old times, where they're like, "Well, fuck, dude, where'd we go wrong?"
Nah, you're not wrong. I grew up with my grandparents since I was 2 years old until I was 13. You know, and so my grandparents were World War II. My grandpa was in Stalingrad, lost a leg on a landmine, ripped his leg off,
Wow.
got shot in the back like 3 times. So, you know, these old rifles,
Yeah.
dude, you know? And, you know, he survived and he came back and they sent him back to the Eastern Front a month later because
Wow.
he was a sergeant and a field marshal or something.
I'm
They sent him back out. He was
glad we didn't grow up in those times.
dude, right?
Yeah.
But my grandpa, man, my grandpa would give me anything, man. If I asked for something, my grandma was the one that, dude, she very religious Catholic. I grew up Catholic. Yes, that's a punishment. Let me tell you. You know, my grandma, she'd be in the kitchen cooking, like, oh, there's the stove, and I'm right here in the kitchen, and I'm like picking my nose. My grandpa would be like, "Get your finger out of your nose," and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." I'm sitting there. Her head would reach, man, through that kitchen. It hits you so hard in the head that your finger would go right up your nose, man.
Yeah, yeah.
You're all bleeding. I'm like, "Ow!" And she goes, "The next time you go up there, you send me a postcard when you get there." You know, it's like, "You stop that now. That gives you brain fleas." She goes, I'm like, "Oh, brain fleas. I don't want those." Anyway, I still pick my nose.
Brain fleas.
Brain fleas. They eat your brain.
What about
course.
you
Sounds
got
bad.
anything else
Well, you
for
wouldn't know,
politics?
right? No, I'm just kidding.
Nope, I
I'm
asked
just
my
joking.
question.
Let's move on to world events.
You haven't even all cracked that yet.
Yeah, what do you got on world events?
World events, a little bit crazy times right now.
Yeah.
On the brink of a fucking Middle Eastern war right now.
Yeah, it's pretty steamed over there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see it, intensify.
Escalate.
Yeah,
I don't think we could help that.
we're not in control of that.
We are not.
Nope, definitely not.
We're
I've
just,
done my time.
we're just sitting over here watching with horror, right? the possibility of shit going down over there, and it does affect us, right? When shit goes on over there, where do you think we get most of our oil? What
30 to 40% of the world gets their oil.
What drives the economy of the world, right? Gasoline. If gasoline's expensive, everything is expensive because that controls the transportation, right? That's the supply line.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, so we don't want to see war there
You don't want to see war anywhere, man.
anywhere.
Yeah.
But and that one would definitely affect us a lot if that started popping off. And so hopefully they can de-escalate sometime or another.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's kind of depressing. As far
Kind of depressing.
as far as world events go,
Point faith. Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
if there was a place or a festival in the world that you could go to, what would you like to go see? Like any festival anywhere, right?
I do, man. I go to these places.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to Wacken because Wacken has turned into an absolute shit show. You know, it's people running around with blown up plastic sharks in the pit and stuff. To me, that's absolutely. If you want to have your fun metal and stuff, that's great. But man, the rowing with the Amon Amarth stuff,
Oh,
I seen him twice in Salt Lake, and I wanted to while I was trying to go to the bathroom. These guys sitting on the ground rowing, I just want to like kick them over and go, "Get the hell out of my way! I gotta pee." Anyway,
I actually think the rowing thing is pretty fun.
I think it's stupid, man.
During the right
I'm
song.
sorry, man. I think it's so stupid. It's like
I've seen worse trends.
but for them to be able to do that with their fans, and they're going to actually sit down and do that, that shows you how much these guys love Amon Amarth, man.
Amon Amarth,
Yeah.
They're great guys. They're really nice dudes.
It's actually
That's
one
what
of
I
the,
was thinking. If you can
Yeah.
connect with people,
I met them a few times. And
enough
they
to
were,
get them to
Oh,
be
nice.
Johannes is the
acting
singer.
out things in the audience.
Johan.
It's
He-
actually one of the bands that really got me into the heavier metal
The
because
death
I grew
metal,
up
yeah.
on radio metal, Metallica,
Same,
Pantera.
same.
You know?
Well, not
And,
new wave of British heavy metal for me,
and
man.
so, like, when I moved up here and I started meeting friends like Chad and Raider, they started introducing me to stuff that I've never heard before, like Dying Fetus, and so I stumbled onto the real metal
the
scene
heaviest stuff.
a little bit later in life, right? And so even nowadays, like my friends will start talking about these metal bands that obviously I should have heard about, and I'm like, oh, no, I'm sorry.
Like Necro Goblicon a couple of years ago.
I play.
No, like, oh, they're
I love
brutal.
they're so
Munchkin
good.
Suicide opened for them at the Shredder.
Oh,
dude.
badass, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that band.
That was a
They're so
crazy show, dude. Actually, my bass player, I got into it with one of them Nico Cobligan guys at the merch table because he was bitching at them how expensive that merch was. And we sold our shirts for like $10. I'm like, dude, stop it. I'm not naming any names. Everybody knows who that guy is. Anyway,
Yeah.
I was like, why, man? We just played with this band and you're going to start a fight now. Great.
So what about it? What about you, Aaron? If there was a world event, like a festival or something you could go to anywhere in the world,
But I haven't
what would
told you
like
which
to see?
festival I was going to go to. I just said which one I wouldn't go to, but I wanted to tell
okay.
you.
So what is it?
Yeah,
What is
the
it?
festival I suggest anyone to go to if you have the money and the time and go to see Keep It True festival in Germany.
Keep It True.
Keep
Festival.
It True.
Okay.
Every year in April.
And what is that
And
about?
What is that about? Keeping It True. Like there's actually bands like Agent Steel played there. Reunited, from what I've seen, horrible. But they played there. And then it was just now I think Tokyo Blade, and but there's also bands like from Seattle, Washington, a band called Solicitor. Great band, played the Shredder, good friends of ours, and they just played Keep It True twice, and they're from the Pacific Northwest, so not just German and English and all these bands, but also American, Canadian bands play there, and it's 3 days. I think it's 3 days, at least 2, Friday and Saturday, I think, and it's like starting with a small band and a headliner, but there's not like Wacken where it's like 65,000 people and mayhem.
I would love to play in overseas.
I would love to.
Germany.
If
would be
Wacken
so
would ask
fun.
me to play with Barry Faith, I
That'd
wouldn't
be
turn
so
him down.
fun, right?
That's for sure. I love
Yeah.
Wacken. It's my favorite.
The hardest thing was just to get your equipment over
Yeah,
there,
but
right?
there's
Yeah.
you go to the party? No, because
Is the power different, like the power outlets and stuff? Like,
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
It'd
Yeah.
be cheaper just to buy your gear there.
Oh, really?
So here's the thing. Well, if we play Germany, we're not bringing our own gear. We're gonna get.
I
They're
couldn't play
gonna
without
pay
my
for us to
guitar.
play there and for our stay, and they're gonna also get our gear. The only thing what these guys might take is their instruments themselves,
Yeah.
like their guitars.
Mhm.
Yep.
But we're not schlepping any amps
or
and
maybe
nothing.
pedal board.
Yeah, pedal boards.
Yeah, not amps for sure.
Otherwise, and also you need to be invited to play a festival like that, because when that happens, when you get invited to play a festival like that, you don't pay out of your own pocket. Everything is paid for. All you gotta do is get your damn passport, and then you're gonna go. And from what I hear,
That's a dream of mine.
taxi
is
coming, freaking taxi coming to pick you up from the airport, bringing you into this
is to be able
inside
to play
the
in
dark
different
woods,
countries.
Germany, somewhere hotel.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, and there's metalheads everywhere, dude. And it's in those bars and those. Just
That's
sit there and
awesome.
drink and have a good time, watch movies and shit.
Hell yeah.
And it's just absolutely chill, dude. And that's the festival to go to. Keep It True festival.
Keep it true. All right,
Yeah.
Aaron. Now, what would you go to?
I mean, I'd be happy to go to any of these festivals overseas because I've never been to.
Now, what one would you personally like to go see?
I mean, maybe the Keep It True because it's a little bit lesser known one. Although Whack and Download, all those.
Oh, Wacken would be so badass.
killer.
I've been
Air?
at
Yeah.
fucking.
I mean, I'd like to go to like the Hell's Heroes. down
That
in
would be
Texas.
cool. That would be
I'm
cool.
hoping to make it down there.
It's just so hot, dude, in
But,
Texas.
yeah,
man.
that's
It's
the only.
fuck that.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of like bringing equipment and stuff, even there, I've heard
Yeah.
that you use like everyone uses the same amps and stuff on stage.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
bring your guitar,
Yeah.
but because otherwise it'd just be a mess, right? Everyone's swapping out.
Yeah,
I feel bad for drummers
the
because
airlines
to
would
play
be
on
overloaded.
to play on another kit is really hard, right? It's not like even a guitar, right?
Yeah,
Because it's all in the same spot. The kit is like a real personal thing, and they have like things set up a certain way. So
Yeah, I'm not a drummer. I couldn't tell you, but I can imagine.
So that's like for the drummer, I feel like playing overseas would probably be the hardest thing for that.
But that's why he's the drummer. He picked that job, you know. So
There you go.
We didn't tell him to do
It's
that.
your fault, drummer.
We did say, hey, you want to be the drummer? All you got to do is.
You wanted to be the drummer.
You want to be the drummer.
How about you, Chad? Where would you like to go see? What festival would you go to?
Probably the one Old Man's Child is on a festival tour. I would probably like. I can't remember the name right now though.
Keep Off the Flame or something.
It's something that's around Germany, Sweden,
Oh.
Norway,
Oh.
and it just hits that triangle right there, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it right now, but that's where Old Man's Child is right now, or is on that tour path, and I'd like to go see that one.
Cool.
That'd be great because Dimmu hits it. All the great black metal bands hit it.
I really want to go to Japan. I'd like to go see the Cherry Festival.
You can go to Bonn, Germany, where I'm from, and see the Cherry Festival.
Yeah.
All the Japanese people actually go there.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. I love Japan.
Yeah.
I love the language, especially. It's really cool. It sounds amazing, and it's fun to actually learn. I've picked up a few words, but
You're the first person I ever heard saying that.
I love Japan.
I've never been there.
I took a lot of martial arts, and here recently I was taking a lot of Japanese martial arts, and I was learning Japanese words in the school.
Kiai.
And
Ichi.
yeah, so I could count to 10. I'm not going to do it because
Do it, pervert.
Son. Come on, you're going to
Ich san chi go rook sich hach
I forgot, man.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
Close enough.
It's the first thing you learn with your first kata you're doing, man. Yeah, I remember all that shit, man. Yeah.
So the Japanese language is super fun, but their culture is super fun too, and
I think it's very fast.
and they're once you get out of the city, it's like some of the most beautiful country on earth, right? And
With all different seasons.
yeah,
That's crazy, isn't
they
it?
really do.
Because it's such a big continent, you know. I mean,
Yeah, gigantic.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I would love to go there. I mean, just to visit. I don't know if I want to live there or something. Yeah, but
My youngest son's on his way there in a couple days.
who is?
My youngest son.
Oh, he's going
Yep,
there.
That's the international vacation that he wants.
Sweet.
Yep, so
That's
he's
awesome.
headed to Japan. I
Hell
believe
yeah.
Are you going with him?
No, I'm not. My
Oh.
mom's taking him, his grandma.
Sweet.
He picked out this vacation as.
Yep, it's his choice. This is
Wow.
where he wanted to go and check
How
out.
old is he?
12.
Great.
Mm.
What a freaking great time he's gonna have,
Yep.
Yeah,
Lucky
expose
him,
them to
lucky
a
him,
different
man.
Culture, that's awesome.
dude.
Hell yeah!
Kudos to you, man, and to your family. Absolutely. That's,
All right, so we move on to sports.
Yeah, hit it.
All right, yeah. Have you guys? Are you into MMA at all?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Not
so
recent.
they got the event down here downtown over at the
Steelhead Arena.
Yeah.
Front Street Fights.
Front Street Fights, and we like to go there a lot. And is it like 32? I think
31.
31.
31, I believe.
No.
31 or 32.
Anyways,
We're getting there.
super awesome. Freaking love going to the Front Street Fights. Highly recommend it.
Yeah,
It's-
I've been
the tickets
there a
aren't
million
very
times,
expensive.
so.
Yeah, and we like to talk about it on the podcast because we're huge fans. And,
Oh, yeah. I used to fight for Rick Rayner in Ontario.
Yeah?
Like 15, 20 years ago.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that was interesting, you know. It's like, but I was already older, you know, and fighting those 8, 19, 20, 21-year-old Russian dudes.
And you don't
Didn't
heal
help
as
it,
quick
yeah.
when you're a little bit older.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. Like you can still lay it down. It's the
Yeah.
healing
I'm
process.
not a
that takes
wrestler.
long
I'm not a
time.
grappler. I like to hit and that very quickly and hopefully with the first two, or with the first one preferably, but with the first two I'm gonna lay out. You're better on your ass and out, or otherwise I'm getting pissed. You know what I mean? I gotta run around and I don't like that. I get tired quickly. You know, so I like to. I'm a lefty, man.
Are you?
Oh yeah, I'm left everywhere. In soccer when I played semi-professional soccer in Germany, I lefty. I shoot the ball with my left leg. Everything. I write with my left hand. I'm a lefty with writing as well. I wouldn't even be able to do like 3 crosses with my right hand. It's like almost disabled when it comes to putting a pen.
I have friends that are lefties, and they have left-handed guitars, and I
have a left-handed
I
bass.
cannot even play. I feel like day one when I pick up.
Kurt Cobain.
Because it is day one.
I can freaking rock out regular, but I
You could just string it like Jimi Hendrix.
and you sound like. Yeah, it's like
Michael Schenker plays a left-handed guitar. One of the best guitar players in the world ever. Schenker, man.
So lefties, you all weird.
I know we are weird, but we we are very one of a kind.
No,
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, my son, he writes left, but he throws a ball with his right. So he's like
he's not a real lefty.
Sort of ambidextrous. Yeah. It's weird, like because when I thought he was just going to be a lefty, right? I bought him a left-handed throwing glove for throwing a baseball, and he's like couldn't do it, and I was like, oh, all right. So he throws the ball with like a regular righty, but he writes with his left hand. It's kind of a trip, yeah. So the brain does weird things, right?
Mm-hmm. What?
So are you guys sports fans? Are you into football, baseball, basketball, anything?
You want to start?
I mean, the only sport I follow is college football. So,
Okay.
If
Good choice.
there's
What's your team?
if there's a Boise State football game happening, I'm
Well, he's a graduate of Boise State, so yeah.
So and my wife's a huge fan. So in fact, she obsesses about it more than I do. So
That's right. The only blue turf allowed, right? And I think we're the only ones.
I think so. At least we have the authority to approve, apparently.
Mm.
So, yeah, however that works.
And the Boise State football is huge. These people love their their local football.
They do.
Yeah.
These people, he
These
says.
people.
Hey,
No, he's
I'm
right.
an
What do you
immigrant.
mean,
I'm
these
an
people?
immigrant.
He's
I
right.
looked up here
He's
and
right.
it was all orange and blue. I was like, what is this? And they were like, it's the college football team.
I
I'm
love
like,
it when the couples wear matching outfits and stuff.
Yeah, if you move here, you're going to see a lot of orange and blue, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
what
had-
it's about.
some guy visiting, on a business trip from out of town. He's like, so, is Boise State football a big thing around here? And I was like, well, let me put it this way. If there were a citizenship test for the city of Boise,
Be a
there'd probably be
Bostonian.
questions about the Fiesta Bowl.
100%. Yeah.
If you
What
wanna-
play was ran at the last play
if
of
you
the
want to be
game?
a Boiseonian,
Yep.
that's for sure.
Yeah,
Was it the Statue of Liberty? Ellis Island.
one of my favorite local sports is floating the damn river, and I'm waiting for that to open up because I'm ready to go jump
It's
in that
about time.
cold ass Boise water and
Sounds like
I'm on a
fun.
hot
in
day.
there.
Yeah.
You see next UFC fight, who the fights are?
Nope.
Okay, Joaquin Buckley and Kamara Usman. Yeah, Joaquin's going to smoke him.
You think?
Oh, it's not even a question. Yep.
Oh, I don't know.
Mark my words right here. Joaquin Buckley's going to win.
You heard it here first. Chad
Yep.
called it.
I'm gonna put money on this now, man. I'm gonna bet on this.
I would.
Okay.
I would if I bet money, but
That's awesome. I love the UFC. We should go watch the fights.
we're going to.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We like to go over to Buffalo Wild
Yeah, because
Wings.
people got money right
I've been to Buffalo
And
before, and
watch
I
the
watched
fights.
the fight there, but I also watched the soccer game over there during World Cup quite a few years ago.
Buffalo Wild Wings. You need to work on your service, man.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Well, I go there to drink beer,
Yeah.
not to eat. The beer, they actually go pretty quick with serving. When you sit at the bar, it goes quicker. So that's all good.
Yeah, well, we've had a little bit of history, and we've been there quite a few times. And it seems like every time we go, like the service was a little bit worse. I'm like, what's going on here?
Mhm.
Yeah, but
They're busy.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
UFC night.
Yeah.
Shit gets a little bit crazy during UFC night. The
Yeah, it
place
does.
fills up. It really does.
Let's get into vinyl, dude.
Okay.
Bust these vinyls out.
Okay.
What do you got? You got a collection?
Well, Barry Faith was
Yeah.
nice enough to
How
bring
about
me
this?
a signed vinyl.
You should take it out. There's all kinds of cool stuff in there.
Show
Yeah, all right. And
There's
so
like an inlay with pictures.
I was super stoked when I seen you had vinyls. I was like, oh yes, thank goodness of band.
Yeah, man. We put
Because quite honestly, it's either digital or vinyl for most part nowadays, right?
Yeah.
CD sales, I don't think are.
It's digital.
But here's the thing: people are predicting actually CDs are going to
I
make a
heard that.
comeback.
I heard
something
that.
like that.
So
Yeah.
just like
I don't believe
vinyl,
them.
I don't
believe it
either.
either.
I don't believe them. Why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you bring back inferior
It's
tech?
the worst media that
Yeah,
there was.
I don't care. I don't disagree with that.
They scratch easily.
Nothing sounds better than a piece of vinyl. When I heard this record on Spotify, I was like, "Whoa, power!" I heard the CD in the car. I was like, power.
Oh,
I put this on,
that nice,
and a
crispy, clean
freaking
vinyl.
my room was
Love that.
shaking, dude, when this was playing. I was like, this is the way it's supposed to be. There's an inlay in there,
Yeah,
actually.
I'm grabbing it.
Yeah,
There we go.
with all the
Oh,
lyrics, all the lyrics. If you guys want to know what Hansi most wrote, Aaron wrote a song, and also ex bass player.
Well, there's two
Chris
ways
Hoagland,
to understand metal lyrics, all
Yeah.
right? One way you could actually read it with the song, or you could sacrifice a goat in the name of Satan in the full moon.
You should
Right.
be able
That's
to
a lot
read
of work, though.
Yeah, you
it
should
is
be
a
able to
lot of
read
work.
the
You have to
lyrics.
fire the goat. You
Yeah,
have to get the
it's
ceremony down.
expensive.
because
The
honestly,
sacrificial knife, all that stuff. But then again,
Yeah.
if you just pull out the lyrics, you can read them. And
that's
and
why we wanted to do this. Is
and
because I remember,
you could
you know,
magically
listening to a
understand the
freaking
metal.
Iron Maiden record and reading the lyrics, and I'm like, run to the hills. And it's like, fuck it.
Our podcast page is probably going to get flagged because I said that.
Why?
But hey,
You didn't mention Disney, so it's okay.
That's right. Thank you
The
for
demons.
signing. I love signed vinyl. The last one I got,
Oh, yeah.
I got the whole Cradle of Filth band signed vinyl.
Well, this is almost as good as this one, eh?
So I like
Yeah.
my signed vinyl collection is getting more. I
But
got
you got to remember this. This in some time, you know, it might be worth something. You know, you
the,
never know.
Well,
Man.
if you keep on
Oh, it's
working
worth
hard,
something.
You might gonna get like $10 on eBay or something.
No, it's not monetary worth.
For one,
It's not monetary
this is
worth.
a vinyl that friends of ours
Yeah.
made. Like so, that's
Priceless.
means something to us.
So
Right?
you know, just like you know, and I know you. You know, we've been musicians in the scene for a long time. You know, it's like you strive for something like this. I don't just play music for myself. I want people to like it. You know, otherwise I wouldn't. You know, I write songs or lyrics. You know, I mean, in this band, Aaron does all the writing of all the music, all of it, drums, everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he has a song basically already ready written, and he brings it to me and he says, "This is kind of what I had in mind." And then I put lyrics on it. You know, I create a song with that, and sometimes he does. Now, since we complete, everybody is going to contribute to that as well. What we want in Filthhound, I was the only song. I wrote all the music, all the lyrics, every song, other than in the very beginning. You know, Jimmy T wrote lyrics with me, and you know, and songs together. But after Jimmy left the band, I start doing all of this myself, you know, and I don't read any notes, zero. I couldn't tell you a tact or anything. I count my own way, but I will hum the hell out of a song to you and sing it to you in some kind of way, so you can pick it up on the guitar and follow that rhythm, and then make that into a song. You know, this is how I write songs. You know, having this Buried Faith with Aaron together, and this is a band we haven't talked about this, and this is very important. I started this band in 1988 in Germany, and all the original members of that band are still alive, and I actually met with them just a couple of weeks ago at this party, and they love what we do. I got their okay before I even took the name again. I said, hey, I'm all friends with them on Facebook for years. Never seen them in like 30 years
so
or
they
so.
let you roll
Yeah.
with it. That's
So they're like, no, dude, we've been waiting for you to do something like
Oh,
this. All blessings are with you, and I'm not even joking when I say this, you know. Otherwise, I wouldn't say that. It was something that they're probably going to listen to this, you know.
Oh, well, what's her name? Shout them out.
Well, we have, of course, Martin Schaub, who was an original drummer, great guy, and still a good friend of mine. Then we had Thomas Richards was in the band, not anymore in the scene. Then, of course, you know, there's so many people that were part of Buried Faith at that time, but we never made more than 2 demo songs, and it was in a youth centrum. You know, it was like after school, you went to play kicker or pool, or had a band going, or did art projects, so you were off the streets and getting into
So it
trouble.
was like a youth,
Because you know you don't have
yeah.
ghettos just here in the States. Just by the way,
Yeah.
you know,
I hung out.
but
with
I
the
grew
youth
up
center,
I
too.
grew up
Yeah.
hardcore, and like absolutely hardcore. My wife never believed me when I told her about ghetto, because she's from L.A. She grew up in Anaheim. She was born in Anaheim. You know, she lived on the beach girl, surfer dad. You know, and she told me about L.A. ghetto and shit. You know, but when she seen where I came from, she was like, "Holy shit!" Yeah, you weren't kidding.
Hmm.
Yeah, cops wouldn't even go in there. They were afraid of the people that lived there, you know. But anyway, you know, so yeah, that's like how Buried Face started. And then when I was bringing this, wanted to do this thrash thing again, because Filth Hound is very Motorheady, old school Maiden kind of stuff. When we did Buried Face again, this is where the band originally comes from. The logo is new, band is new, the name is the only one that's still from back then. That's a important piece of Buried Faith history right there.
So, what do you think about Death Clock?
Can I be honest?
Yeah, bring it on.
Gene Hoglan, hi Gene, good buddy of mine, you know, and I've known him for many years, and he played in Death Angel and all that, you know. But I'm not a fan of the cartoon, honestly. The music is good. To me, it's more of a gimmick. It's just like war in some kind of way.
Yeah.
I can take it or leave it. I've never seen him live. I had the opportunity to do that, and I choose not to. And I'll tell you why now.
Go for it.
Because I didn't want to, you know, I knew there was going to be a lot of smelly hipsters at that show, and I didn't want to go there. That's just the way it is. I'm sorry, you know, but that's, it was like, no.
Yeah, I got to see him last year, and it was fucking amazing.
It was packed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was super packed. Man, Dragon Force was fucking awesome. Like I didn't.
I love Dragon Force.
I would never even went and seen Dragon Force. I mean, I like them, but like that's not a show I would.
Dude, I love Dragon Force, man.
See. And they fucking killed it. And then Necrogoblicon, amazing. All right.
Yeah, those guys are great, man.
And the show that Death Clock and they put on was awesome.
Oh, I imagine live that would be amazing.
So good. Yeah. So yeah, me and Chad have been fans of the cartoon for a long time. Like I literally just stumbled on it flipping channels one day and I was like, what is this? Right?
Patrick showed it to me.
Oh really?
Yeah, he had the DVDs and he had a tiny little DVD player. He's watch this.
Yeah.
You know what makes me go to sleep at night and what I watch, what makes me relax? My 600-pound life.
Oh,
I love that. You know
makes
why?
you feel better?
It makes me feel so much better about myself while I'm laying in bed and eating these German candies. You know, you know, like that movie with the Willy Wonka with that German kid that all of a sudden go boom, boom, gets bigger and flies away. That's like how I feel about that.
All right, so that was the end of the vinyl. So,
questions.
Any questions? You go ahead and start with this one.
Okay, let's start with Hansi. Hansi, you can quantum teleport to your younger self.
No.
What do you tell yourself as a piece of advice, and why?
What do I tell myself for a piece of advice and why? Yeah, how do I answer this? I definitely would not change a lot, honestly, or wanting really change anything, because I think anything you go through in your life is some kind of test or whatever it is, you know, and you battle through it and you survive or you don't, you know.
You're not trying to change the future. You're just giving yourself one piece of advice.
Then that would be be kind, be more open-minded to people than I used to be.
Perfect. Aaron?
I think what I would say is I would tell myself to make time for the people in your life, like friends and stuff. So I remember, when I was younger, I was so busy, like with college, and then I was super busy with my career and everything. And, there were some friends that would hit me up, oh, do you want to go do this? Oh, I'm busy. And, and then pretty soon you start, after you get asked a couple times and they stop asking, and then some of those friends just fall by the wayside. And then the older you get, the more you realize that, the relationships you have is really what you're going to value. So
that is true.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Nice. All right, so my first question for both of you, let's have you start with this, Aaron. What is your favorite quote of all time?
Favorite quote?
Yeah. Everyone has to have a favorite quote. It could be from a movie or a book or anything.
Oh my gosh. I need time to think about this. Quote.
You want me to go first so you can think?
Yeah.
Hansi knows his.
Yeah, Hansi got you. All right, bring it on, Hansi.
Well, there's so many, but probably will think that, because this is a quote I say quite often, almost on a weekly basis, is, oh, that's going to leave a mark.
Great one.
Cool. Yep, that works.
I don't know. I have a T-shirt that has a quote on it, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it says now, but it's like, basically. It says something along the lines of demand evidence and think critically.
Demand evidence and think critically. I like that. I could get behind that. That's good. All right.
Okay. You have the ability to make the world a better place. What do you do?
I think a source of a lot of trouble is just the tribal nature of humans. It's always like my team versus your team. Everyone. It's like
My dick is bigger than yours.
yeah. If my politician does this, it's okay. But if yours does it, well, he's the scum of the earth. But if my guy does it, well, no problem. And that's been true ever since humans.
So a little less hypocrisy in the world, then?
Well, yeah, I guess that's part of it. But really, just it comes down to the ability to empathize and see things from another person's point of view. So many people that can't do that. I feel like I've always been a person that can see things from someone else's vantage point. Even if I don't agree, I can at least understand why they would think this or feel this. So,
cool.
I think, I would, do something to make people less tribal, less, centered on their own perspectives.
More open-minded and acceptable.
Okay. Hansi, make the world a better place. What do you do?
Give everybody a good beer.
Good choice.
I mean,
That'll help. A dark German?
I can't do much to make the world better. I guess.
And sharing a good beer with
sharing
friends.
a good beer, I think, is a good thing.
It is.
It comes from the heart. It's meant well. So.
Good choice. Excellent answer.
All right. This question, we'll start with you this time, Hansi, is inspired from Pinky and the Brain. You're taking over the world tonight. What is your plans?
What is my plans?
Yep.
No plans. Just all. Take the world.
To just
Yeah. Just take the world.
Just moving forward.
Yeah.
One foot in front of the other. With a good beer.
Pinky and the Brain. Oh my God! You're bringing back some memories.
That's as old as Darkwing Duck.
oh brother, yeah, I've met both the voice actors,
That's great.
and they're super. Ron Paulson is amazing.
Ron Paulson. That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, so no exact plans. Just do it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what else can I say to that? No.
Okay, how about you? What is your plans to take over the world?
I don't know.
Be as maniacal as you can.
I don't know. I'm still stuck on trying to remember what Pinky and the Brain even is. I don't think I ever saw that.
It is a cartoon that was a very clever cartoon, and it was two mice, and they were laboratory mice that had plans to take over the world every night, right? And
Pinky and the Brain.
yeah, and it was super fun.
It was on the Animaniacs.
Animaniacs. I love that, man.
The show was called the Animaniacs.
Yeah.
And it had the Warner Brothers, two brothers and the sister.
I think that was after my time as a
But that's
kid.
besides the point. How would you?
Yeah, I had kids
take
that were
over the
watching
world?
this actually, so I watched it too.
What would be your master plan? How would you do it?
Take over the world.
I don't know. I guess
Just take it.
you have to invent the world's most powerful social media platforms.
So you're going to be Mark Zuckerberg. All right, I like it.
Okay.
I mean, based on what I've observed so far,
That's right.
Okay, Hansi,
Mm.
you're given $100 million. It's the first thing you buy and do.
What's the first thing I buy and do?
Very first thing you buy and do with $100 million.
I don't know. Probably pay off all my debt first,
Okay.
and then I
Move on from
I
there.
don't have any debts, so really, let's put it this way. 20 million?
100 million.
100 million.
Yeah, you can buy anything you want.
Life-changing money. You no longer have to worry
Okay.
about work. You
Okay.
literally
Yeah,
just get to
yeah.
go buy or do whatever
Oh,
you choose.
that's the dream. The first thing I would buy is a personal jet, like the real good Bon Jovi one, that kind of jet. So I could just, whenever I want to,
About the Iron
fly.
Maiden one.
Yeah, that's too big. I want something smaller, something that's more private, where there's just a couple people hanging out, not like So that is what I would buy first.
Okay,
Because
private jet.
Yeah.
Perfect. Aaron, you're given $100 million. What do you do? What do you buy first?
I don't know. I think I'd have to build my own studio and rehearsal space, so I wouldn't have to lug my amps around all over the place.
Perfect. Hell yeah. How about you? Somebody gives you $100 million. David Draper, take this $100 million.
I'm buying this kind of a quartz guitar. I have my eyes on it.
Oh yeah.
One.
First, I would
First thing.
buy the entire BC Rich brand and own it. I'd be like, I'm taking care of BC Rich forever. We're gonna make the sickest guitars on freaking earth. Okay.
Okay.
The guy who's in charge right now is doing a killer job. His guitars are smoking badass. They're expensive. Don't get me wrong. I got two Extreme BC Riches, the newer ones, and they were both like $1,800 guitars, but 100% worth it. They are some of the best guitars I've played ever. Straight up, they're beautiful works of art and perfect craftsmanship. So that's the first thing I'd do. I'd buy that brand.
Okay.
Right?
Buys BC Rich.
Yep.
Check.
I would own all the BC Riches, baby.
He would just buy the whole company. The whole company. You put $100 million right into that company.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. What about you, Chad?
$100 million. I would probably... I'd look for stuff like residual incomes, stuff that keeps making you money without doing anything. So I would definitely buy property first.
So you would do more work? What's wrong with you,
You would just
Chad?
leave money in the bank and
Yeah.
live off that
No.
profit.
This guy wins $100 million. He never has to work again, and he's like, "I'm gonna
Continues to work.
I'm
I love
He's like,
working.
I want to make this work for me even more, or maybe not.
It doesn't matter, right?
Well, I'm older, so I would just, live life.
It's a good thing you have friends
Yeah.
like me to talk you out of that shit. I'd be like,
No, I'd still do it.
He's like, I still
Like,
have
what is
perspective
wrong
in
with you?
life. I still have all these years left to live, and I'm just like, blow it. Let's just have fun.
That's just the first thing.
Yeah, let's
That's
go buy,
just
let's
number
go
one.
buy an island in Fiji.
I'm gonna have
right?
Dimo Borgir play in my backyard.
There you go, old man's child,
Oh, dude, yeah.
That too.
right?
That
Both
would
of
be
them.
both.
I've
That's the
been
only two
waiting
bands.
for Jimmy Borgir to come to Idaho. Like,
Yeah.
I
We're
mean,
gonna wait forever.
Cradle of Filth, come on, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
make my black metal dreams come true.
Yep.
Um,
Kill that goat, learn the death metal, and then they will.
I've already done it, man.
Well, then they should come.
All right, so do we get the pluck now? I should have.
No, I got one
Last
more set of
question.
questions. So there's different ones for each of you, okay? Because I got one kind of specifically for Hansi. But let's start with Aaron. If you could make one law tomorrow absolutely pass, what would that law be?
One law.
One law.
Okay, well, here's something I know that all us musicians and stuff can get behind. I would make it illegal to sell concert tickets for over their face value.
There you go.
Love that. Thank you.
Fuck you,
Awesome.
StubHub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point right there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Price gouging.
Hell yeah. All right. So Hansi, I've been watching some videos of this one guy explaining these German words that are really long. What
I
do
what
you
you're
know
talking
any
about,
German words that are extraordinarily long?
Sure.
And what does it mean? Lay it on us.
Multinationale Mineralölindustrie.
I don't know what that was, but it sounds awesome.
Multinational mineral oil industry.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's a word?
that's a word.
That's a
Yes,
word.
it's-
One
It's
word.
one word. Yes.
That's awesome.
No spaces.
Nope. There's also Schifferbauhausgesellschaftsforum. So it's like all three different things in like one word, but all together. It's,
Yeah, this
And
guy.
the
I've been-
meaning?
I couldn't tell you right now. It's something with shipbuilding union.
Okay.
Yeah, this YouTuber I've been watching, like he explains all these German words, and I'm actually fascinated with the language. It is a cool language to listen to.
It's actually, yeah, it's I mean, obviously I grew up with that language and speak it.
Well, for me, like I actually listen to different languages and like how they're like what they sound like, and quite honestly, the American language is not a beautiful language. It has.
I mean, people would say that about the German language, but honestly, I think the German language is not as rough or as, as anti-sexy as people say. When a woman speaks with a German accent, I find that, really? It's like, anyway, awesome. I don't think it's that bad of a language, I find French appalling. Sorry, Denis. I find French appalling because it's like when a woman speaks French, that's kind of cute. But when a guy speaks French, I get upset. It just makes me want to punch this guy. No,
that brings out the
kidding. This was a joke.
Did you just speak French to me?
This was a joke. I love Canadians. They're all my friends. I'm
that's awesome.
Working on something with a Canadian thing. So anyway,
you dudes, plug whatever you want to plug.
Yep.
You want to talk about it? Talk about it.
Go, Aaron. Make it quick.
Well, I mean, obviously, you can go to buriedfaith.com. Right now, it's just going to take you to our Bandcamp page, but it's a little bit easier to remember. Just buriedfaith.com. We've got all sorts of merchandise there.
You can listen to the record.
You can listen to it. Obviously, you can get the vinyl. We got a fresh batch of CDs, so CDs are available again.
Patches, stickers, buttons, T-shirts, signed shit. We got anything you little heart desires. So,
any upcoming shows?
Yeah, like you already mentioned.
Yeah, so we mentioned on the 28th, the Shredder.
Well, next weekend we actually have at the Modern Sound vinyl on Vista Avenue. My friend Derek that owns the place over there is going to have Buried Faith be there for a vinyl release party where people can come in and listen to our record for 2 hours. Yes, it's going to get played over and over. And, we're going to be there, the whole band. We're going to be there. We're going to talk to people. We're going to sign stuff for people. They can ask questions, just hang out, just have a big party for a couple of hours. That's tomorrow. It's next weekend.
Nice.
The 21st, and then on the 28th, we playing that show at the Shredder.
Who are you playing with?
We're playing with a band from California called Ignite. Incognita, a younger California thrash band.
We've had Incognita here before, I believe.
Really?
It sounds familiar. I believe I've heard of it.
They're a younger thrash band from California. They hit us up and asked if we wanted to play with them while they came here. So I checked them out and I liked what they were doing. I was like, hell yeah, these guys shred. So we said we'd play the show. But there's 2 shows been put together, how Justin sometimes does it at the Shredder, when 2 touring bands want to play the same night. So that's been done. So we play second, so come early. And I like that we play second because it's kind of like ripping that Band-Aid off for the first show with that whole new lineup for the first time. There's people in that band that haven't played a live show with us yet.
Oh, that would be different.
I mean, the only 2 people that have played live shows are the 2 of us, so with that band. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, I have a great feeling. I mean, our rehearsal's been brutal.
That first show, that feeling. Yeah, yep. I remember my first show, and like I even have video of it. And I was so stiff. I was just sitting there playing guitar, like watching the chaos erupt in front of me. There was mosh pits and shit.
That's great, dude.
I was like, whoa.
Hey, John was going through smashing people at that concert.
I almost shit my pants playing the first show. The first show I ever played with Munchkin Suicide, we opened. That was my first show as a singer in a band ever, and we opened for fucking Canadian punk band Dayglow Abortion. Cool fucking band from the 80s. And that's the very first show Munchkin on a Tuesday night at the Shredder. We weren't even ready to play, and Dean goes, "I booked the show. We're playing this Tuesday," and I'm like, "I can't. I gotta work." And he was like, "No, you're playing." And I'm like, all right. So we played the show, and it was great, man. And we actually have a professional recording of this.
Nice.
horrible.
I hate
performance.
watching early
Oh,
footage of me
God.
playing. Yeah,
When
it's-
honestly, I watched old stuff of myself that I've just a few years ago still thought it was amazing. And I was like, what a performance! I should been like the best 100 new singers, on a list, And then I watched it again a couple of years later, and I'm in a different band, like that's better. And I watched it again, and I'm going like, oh shit, that's terrible. You didn't even hit that note, man. What's going on? It's like.
Well, it's how your music perspective changes as your skills increase over time.
Yeah.
I had to fight for every fucking guitar muscle that I have, right? Like was not a natural. I started
I can't
smoke
play-
on the water.
I
just
can't
like
play
most
guitar.
guitarists,
That's
and
the
work
only
my way
thing I
up,
probably
right?
can play on the guitar, smoke on the water. That's it. And,
That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Bam, bam,
That's
bam,
That's
bam,
right.
bam, bam, bam. But I tried to play guitar, dude, and I'm just not good. I always wanted to tell myself that I'm really good. It's like I could play a mean rhythm. No, you can't. You suck. You're not good. That's why I'm the singer in the band, because I never learned how to play an instrument. So I'm the only one with no talent. That's the way it goes.
But all right, well, I think that's the end of our podcast. So thank you guys for coming on.
Awesome.
We appreciate it, and hopefully we'll have you back in the
Dirty
future.
faith.
Yeah, and we can't wait to see you guys play live.
Come see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, come see it,
I
man.
love the Shredder. It's
Yeah.
one of the best venues ever.
Dude, come
It
to the
is.
show. You're not
Yeah.
going to be disappointed, and if you are, I don't care.
Well, yeah,
We'll be hanging out there too.
Yeah,
so.
we're going to be having a beer with you guys. It's all good.
hell yeah. Thanks
Sounds
very much.
good.
All right, thanks very much.
Awesome.
Hell yeah,
All right.
gentlemen.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Happy
there we go.
birthday again, man.
It's this guy's birthday?
Who
How old are
knew?
you? 111?
No. I stopped
crazy.
aging long ago.
He
I'm
looks-
level
Level.
47.